happening, people? What's going on? Happy Saturday. It's Saturday today. For some reason, guys, I thought it was Sunday. I don't know why. I think it's because the weather is a bit miserable today after it was like baking hot for the last week or so. But big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Reports coming out from Portugal suggesting that Victor Gyokeres has rejected Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano said last night, I think it was, that Manchester United were potentially still in talks with him, as well as Arsenal. So there is conflicting reports. But you guys know here on the channel, we report as accurately as possible, but also there's so much journalism to report on. I think one thing I will say is that this Portuguese outlet that is reporting that Victor Gyokeres has rejected Manchester United and has let Manchester United know is one of the biggest Portuguese outlets in terms of reporting sports reporting in Portugal. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Bryan Mbeumo, because it sounds like there is, guys, I'm not joking, yeah, but why is it suddenly Rob Dawson of ESPN is soft launching about Rasmus Højlund potential, that Manchester United are reportedly interested, or Manchester United reportedly believe that Rasmus Højlund has the potential to improve. Yesterday as well, it was being reported that, Joshua Zirkzee was being looked at as a potential striker to partner Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. So I don't want to, it's not fear mongering or anything, but it's just the reports that we're seeing from other journalists outside of transfer news when it comes to Manchester United information. It feels like there are backup plans to, if Manchester United do not get the striker that they want, that there is, it seems to be that they're looking at, I guess they're covering all bases, which is the correct thing to do. They're covering all bases. But it seems like they're trying to find alternatives. Now, I spoke about this yesterday in terms of my opinion on the way that I see potentially things panning out. And I said that if Man United can sign Bryan Mbeumo, I can envision them getting Gyökeres done. But if they can't, agree terms for Bryan Mbeumo in terms of with Brentford, not with the player, but with Brentford, I see them maybe not going for Gyökeres, because I think Gyökeres is the complementing factor to having a duo of Cunha and Mbeumo. So let's take everything with a pinch of salt. You already know the rules here on the channel, guys. Get involved in the conversation, but we take everything with a pinch of salt. Obviously, it's Saturday, so I don't even know how likely we are to get confirmation news. People say unless it comes from Ornstein or it comes from Fabrizio, it's not confirmed until it comes from one of the two of them. But I've seen in the past other journalists, small dog journalists in their respected countries, breaking news. When it was Leny Yoro joining Manchester United, the first reporter that kind of broke the news that Manchester United had agreed terms with Leny Yoro and beat Real Madrid to the race was, I think it was an Algerian French journalist based in France. So don't discredit anything just because you feel like it's not from Ornstein or Fabrizio. We take it with a pinch of salt, but we are going to talk about it because it's out there for people to discuss. So let's actually start with I will say let's start with the Gyökeres stuff. Let's start with the Gyökeres stuff. Be sure to hit the like button if you've just come through. So this is as I mentioned, the biggest sporting paper. It's the biggest paper in Portugal. One of the bigger ones. They've reported on many stuff before, and now they are suggesting, obviously I can't read this verbatim, guys. I can't read this verbatim, but it's being reported that Victor Gyokeres has rejected Manchester United, and his team have let them know that he's told Manchester United he will not be joining the club this summer. His agents have let Manchester United know. It's also being reported as well that Manchester United made an offer to Victor Gyokeres. However, it was not enough to convince him. I slapped this all into Google Translate, guys, so y'all don't have to translate this for yourself. There is also the player reportedly feels worried about the lack of European football and a greater sporting risk at the club. no pun intended. Now I don't know what that suggests. Now Fabrizio Romano was live earlier as well. See if I can actually bring this clip up. Let me see if I can bring this clip up as well, because this will be actually helpful for us to actually watch.
Victor Gyökeres, because on Victor Gyökeres, guys, the agent spoke in the recent hours saying he has proof of the agreement with Sporting to let the player go for 60 million euros guaranteed plus 10 in add-ons. So that's the position of the agent. Let's see what's going to happen in this story. We know Gyökeres is not so happy with the Sporting president, who said he wants more than this fee to let the player go, so not accepting the pact made by the director Hugo Viana a few months ago. Let's see what happens there. I just want to tell you one thing. Manchester United keep calling for Victor Gyokeres, so Man United remain there, always informed of the situation. But don't forget Arsenal.
Guys, do you hear that? Please, for the people that are, I know there's a bit of people want to believe that there's no truth to any information out there if it's not from Fabrizio or David Ornstein. But he himself has said, he hasn't said United are still in the race. He said United are still there. They're still calling him. That's it. That it's not that that they've offered him something. It's not that they are in talks with him. It sounds like they're just calling him. This is verbatim, word for what Fabrizio is saying. They are still calling him and they are still there. But he said, obviously, let's not forget about Arsenal. In terms of further information about this, just as I was mentioning, this here is the direct translation. Victor Gyokeres has rejected a move to Manchester United. The player's entourage has officially informed Manchester United that they are no longer an option for the forward. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know, again, we're going to be, like I said, everyone's going to be patient until Fabrizio comes through with the bomber, or David Ornstein comes through with the news. I don't know if I'm worried, guys. I don't think I'm worried if there is any truth to this. I don't know if there is, if there is any truth to this. I don't think, I'm not that worried, because I feel like there's, again, Man United have been soft launching a lot more information. They've been soft launching potential, not, I'm not going to say replacements, but alternatives. And like I said earlier at the beginning, Rob Dawson from ESPN has said that there is still some faith within Manchester United that Rasmus Højlund will turn into a prolific frontline striker that Manchester United hoped they were getting when he arrived from Atalanta. It was also reported yesterday that Manchester United are hoping and they believe that Joshua Zirkzee could be an alternative option for the number 9 position if they are able to get Bryan Mbeumo, and obviously they've got Matheus Cunha. So clearly Manchester United are looking at, you know, maybe Gyökeres is the number 1, then maybe there's other strikers that are number 2 and number 3. But I think the final kind of option that Manchester United might seem to look at is continuing with what they have right now up front and hoping that, you know, Mbeumo and Cunha can make a difference with having Rasmus Højlund as the starting number 9, or having Joshua Zirkzee as the starting number 9. Now, I actually think, guys, I think it's actually a bigger situation getting this Bryan Mbeumo thing wrapped up than it is Victor Gyokeres. Honestly, I actually also would argue that even the lack of maybe midfielders that Manchester United are linked to, that actually worries me a little bit. That worries me slightly, because I know we know how poor Manchester United's midfield ball progression is. We know how bad they are playing in the middle of the pitch. So I'm worried about the lack of midfield links that we have seen so far. But like I said, this Man United versus Spurs thing for Bryan Mbeumo, Manchester United need to wrap it up ASAP. They need to wrap it up ASAP. Now, I've just seen, let me just bring it up here. Rob Dawson as well reporting, this is all this information that I'm talking about. So the Højlund stuff and this stuff here is coming from Rob Dawson at ESPN. He's reporting that Manchester United still want Bryan Mbeumo, but Barada is determined not to pay past a price point. So Manchester United sounds like they've got a point that they're willing to go up to. Rob Dawson is a fraud, Minna. I feel like every journalist is a fraud. Honestly speaking, guys, I feel like a lot of the reporters, yeah, this is just my opinion, by the way, guys. This is just my opinion, so take it with a pinch of salt. I just feel like they just put out stories covering all bases. They cover every base of a story so that they can turn around and be like, look, we were right. But they will put out right now, if I was a journalist, guys, you know what I would do? I would put out a story saying, Manchester United are, flying ahead to sign Gyökeres. Then I would put out a story that will kind of doubt that and plant seeds of doubt in people's head. And then I will put out a story about United's current number 9s. And that way it will cover all 3 bases of what could possibly be the outcome. Yeah, they just literally and a lot of people do this. There's so many journalists that do this. And sometimes, guys, I think there is some legitness to it. And the reason why I'm saying that is journalists have a lot of sources. They have sources at clubs, they have sources at from players, so they might get conflicting information from everyone. I'm not saying that they're lying, but it just means that they get different information from different sources, which is conflicting. Mina, you're spreading this fake news by titling it like that. I'm not spreading fake news. I saw something that is being reported, and we're here speaking about the prospect of it being true. What is the difference between I'm trying to think of any Simon Stone reporting something? If Simon Stone had said this, he's not really that credible when it comes to transfer stuff. But if he had said this, or if Samuel Luckhurst, I've seen people doing videos about Samuel Luckhurst information. I've seen people doing videos about Simon Stone. Every possible journalist that is not classed as tier 1, which is Ornstein and Romano. Florian Plettenberg was reporting about Ekitike, and so many people say he's a fraud as well. So it's not really spreading fake news, in my opinion. It's that I'm reporting what a news outlet is saying. Yeah, the difference is the source and the fake news. If I was reporting fake news, guys, I would come here and say Man United have agreed terms for Victor Osimhen. That's fake news because it's not true. I'm making it up. I'm making it up. So please, let's differentiate fake news. And I hate the term fake news. Trump has made me hate that title. What do you want me to put in the title? Reportedly, Gyökeres has... It makes no difference. It makes no difference. Anyways, let's just quickly get back on this Mbeumo thing, because I actually think signing Bryan Mbeumo is equally as important as Manchester United getting this Gyökeres thing done. And it sounds like Man United have a kind of a price point, as mentioned, and they don't want to exceed past that. Reportedly, Brentford wants £70 million. That's a lot of money, guys. That is a lot of money. £70 million for a player that has a 1 year plus 1 option. And I also don't know about the idea of Spurs paying 70 million. Personally, I'm not too sure about whether Spurs... I'm not too sure whether Spurs will pay that as well. Let me put reportedly in my title, because before people start accusing me of fake news. But yeah, I don't really know about Spurs paying 70 million, because their record fee that they've paid for a player is what, 55 million for Dominic Solanke. I don't know how likely they are to break the bank for Bryan Mbeumo. Now, it is also being reported by Rob Dawson that ahead of the season with no European football, it's not being ruled out that Manchester United need to be disciplined in their transfer approach. Barada, Hargreaves and Jason Wilcox could abandon their pursuits of top targets if the valuations are deemed too high. Now, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like had Manchester United been willing to pay this fee for Bryan Mbeumo, I think they would have wrapped it up by now. I think they would have wrapped up this move by now had they been willing to pay the fee for him, whether it's 60, whether it's 70, whatever it is. Now, Manchester United's initial bid that was rejected for Bryan Mbeumo, it was 45 plus 5. So it was 50 million. And we know that Brentford reportedly value Mbeumo. They're using Cunha as a benchmark. And maybe that's the downside to Manchester United getting the Cunha move done quite quickly, because now Brentford are using that as a benchmark to sell Mbeumo. Let's be honest, is Mbeumo Cunha, is there much difference in terms of the player? and what they've achieved, one at Wolves, one at Brentford, the profile of there's not really much difference in terms of, I'm not talking about verbatim, their technical ability, etc., etc. I'm just talking about what the team would base their valuation on. What Brentford would base their valuation on. It's not really much different. So I kind of get why Brentford are looking to do that. So that is kind of the downside for me, for Manchester United, getting the Cunha deal done relatively quicker than other moves. They're using that as a benchmark. They want at least, reportedly, 60 million at least guaranteed. I don't know. 70 million is a lot, guys. We sat here complaining about Mason Mount getting sold, getting brought for 50 plus, and he had 1 year left on his deal. I know Brian Mbeumo has 1 year plus 1 left. I know it's 1 year plus 1, so technically Brentford have also reportedly, I remember reading an article last week or a week before saying that Brentford were happy to trigger his 1 year extension if Man United don't want to pay the fee, because their whole argument is that one year contract that's left. I'm starting to get a bit nervous, guys. Let me see what you guys are actually saying, by the way. Mbeumo would be more important signing as he can be used at right wing back 10. I'd definitely pay the money for him. Do you guys think that signing Mbeumo for 70 million, and then obviously having paid 60 plus for Cunha, do you think that is potentially something that will restrict Manchester United's further movements in the transfer window? Because it was reported, guys, I don't know if you guys remember, and I never really take full word for it, because it's always reported every summer that United have a £100 million transfer budget, right? Every year we always hear that. It was reported this year that Man United had around 150 to spend or 120 to spend before any sales. And I feel like that might be spent on Mbeumo and Cunha. So if Manchester United get this Mbeumo deal done, I think we're going to be sitting around waiting for outgoings first before Manchester United sign everybody else. And there is nothing on the market right now that suggests that there's anything coming in for Marcus Rashford, for Jadon Sancho, for Garnacho, for Casemiro, any of those players. There's not really much out there. Anthony is probably the only player that has legit interest, but even then it's not a permanent transfer. It is loan options that are available for him. Marcus Rashford is holding out for Barcelona, and Barcelona look like reportedly they're moving for Nico Williams. So if they sign Nico Williams, what are they going to do with Marcus Rashford? They don't need him. Let me see what else you guys are saying. United can get some more budget from Ratcliffe's investments anyways. If he wants to win trophies and United on top, he better put in the money. I'm sure clubs just pluck transfer fees out of thin air. What are prices based on? I've seen an article once from The Athletic. This was a while ago, and it was talking about the metrics used for transfer fees. And it sounds like a lot of what is used now is like, it's always been age, their performance in the season. They use that. They like to gauge the market, so see what other similar players are going for, but also data. That data is being used a lot for transfer valuations, in terms of the fact that they use it to understand what the player is now, what he could become, using data, all of those stuff, and then coming up with a thing. So like I said, for example, with Brian Mbeumo, they're using their own internal valuation of him. I remember back in like February or March, there was reports saying that Brian Mbeumo had a price tag of 50 million. But when they realized Manchester United paid 60 something for Matheus Cunha, they said, okay, well, we believe that Mbeumo is better than Cunha, so we want 70 million. That's what they're using. Tyler Dibbling had a price tag reportedly of 100 million back in January. It sounds like that price tag has gone down to 50 million. But what are they using? They're using to get to that valuation, they're using his age, his potential, all of that stuff to gather or to try and understand what they could sell him for. There's no way they would ever sell him for 100 million. I don't know who would pay 100 for Dibbling, in my opinion. Depends how much Mbeumo wants to stick with Man United. He could leave for half a price in January if last year of his contract. Now, I saw a report coming from, it got retweeted onto my timeline. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it. Okay, but I saw a report from basically, like the Manchester, how Manchester United have aggregators on Twitter. There was a Spurs version that I saw a Spurs fan retweet, and it had a report from Graham Bailey in it that suggested that Spurs don't feel like they are out of the race to sign Bryan Mbeumo. Now, the only thing that I could understand as to Bryan Mbeumo even looking at, the possibility of joining Spurs, it must surely only be because of Thomas Frank. Because you're telling me 2 weeks ago he didn't want to sign with Spurs and he let them down nicely. And now 2 weeks later, he's changed his mind because he was happy to leave Brentford. My point is that he was happy to leave Brentford and leave Thomas Frank. But now Thomas Frank is at Spurs. That is enough reason for him to join Spurs. There must have been other reasons why he rejected Spurs. The same way there must be reasons why he rejected Newcastle. And I can't remember who's the other team. Was it Villa that was in him? I can't remember the other team. Arsenal. I can't remember. But there is clearly reasons why he wanted to reject those teams. So you're telling me in the space of a week since Spurs have now announced Thomas Frank as their coach, that is enough, solely that reason is enough to convince him to join Spurs? I don't know about that. Now, yesterday we had the conversation about, Spurs reportedly making a bid for him or putting in a 70 million bid. I don't know if that's Brentford trying to force Man United's hand, because we already seen the reports that suggest that United are not willing to spend above a certain amount, number one. Number two, they also value Mbeumo at a certain amount. So if they bidded 50 million for the first bid, which was with, I think, add-ons, I think the most that United might be willing to go up to is 60 to 65. I don't believe 70 is what United are going to pay for Bryan Mbeumo, because there's no way Barada and all of these other decision makers, these sporting minds, there's no way that they are gonna come out and suggest that, yeah, we want people to take United seriously in negotiations and we will pay teams whatever they want. I thought that was the old way of Manchester United. I saw an article, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw an article earlier this week from The Athletic that suggested, it was an interview with the head of SEG agency, and it had an interview with him, and he was talking about this whole Antony transfer, and he basically was defending Erik ten Hag by saying Erik ten Hag did not want to pay 100 million for Antony. He wanted to pay 50 million or something like that. He wanted to pay 50 million, and it was United that insisted that they will do whatever it takes to get him, because they wanted to prove to the manager that they're backing him, financially backing him, etc., etc. There's no way Manchester United now look at that old way of Manchester United, which was overspending, and think, yeah, you know what, we will spend, Brentford wants 70, we will give them 70. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about that. Let me know in the chat. I actually want to hear, do you guys think United should pay 70 million for Bryan Mbeumo? If that means once Bryan Mbeumo comes in, Man United potentially will have to offload players before they sell them. I don't know. Because I'm kind of in two bits about it. Part of me is like, the guy wants to join, the fact that he wants to join United when they have practically nothing to offer competitively in terms of European football, turn down multiple Champions League teams, and he's willing to do all of that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if United should spend 70 million on Bryan Mbeumo. But then I also think I look at what United have to offer in I look at what other players have to offer in that position, and what United could go out and possibly get. And I just don't know if there's much. I don't know if there's many alternatives for Manchester United. Ryan Cherki's gone to City. Then there's Mbeumo. I don't want Semenyo because I don't see him as a 10. I don't really know who else Man United should go and get. Eze got a 65 million, I think it is, release clause. Kudus has an 80 million release clause. So these players are in and around the same valuation, slightly lower, slightly higher, but in and around the same valuation as Bryan Mbeumo. Kluivert, I seen someone mention Justin Kluivert earlier in the chat. I like Justin Kluivert for Bournemouth. I've watched Bournemouth a lot in the season, and I like Justin Kluivert for Bournemouth. Do I think he's what Manchester United need right now? I mean, firstly, he's linked to Bayer Leverkusen. It's reported that Bayer Leverkusen are looking at him. I mean, Erik ten Hag has never beaten the Dutch allegations. Erik ten Hag is never. How can your first job after Manchester United, the first attacker that you want to reportedly sign is Justin Kluivert? He's never beaten the Dutch allegations. He's never beaten the SEG allegations. That's for sure. But for me, look at this list: Kluivert, Semenyo, Eze. Are they world beaters? Would you class them as world beaters? Would you class them as game changers? I don't know if I would personally. If they are 100% he wants United, they could wait even until January. I think if they don't sell him by January, I think that they will. I think they will trigger his 1 year option. They will trigger it. I'd rather have him than see him go to our rival. I would pay. He improves us massively. The thought of losing Mbeumo to Spurs as well kind of puts me off slightly. Like that is a reason. For that reason alone, I would say United should pay it, just so that we don't lose him to Spurs. We haven't made a second bid yet. They want 60 with 1 year left. United paid what 60, which was including the add-ons, but they paid that for Mason Mount. Jim says nope, 50 million plus 5 max. He's saying 55 million maximum. And Mbeumo is 100% going Tottenham. Forget him and look at other signings for the Prem. Let's be honest, if Arsenal want him, he will go there. Fairs. If his deal is equivalent to Cunha's, it is kind of fair as he has been consistent for multiple seasons in the Premier League. I agree with that to an extent. I do agree with that point to an extent. I agree that if he has been consistent, it is true. He has been consistent. So that's why I said that I kind of agree with the way that Brentford are valuing him. Not necessarily the fact that I think 70 million is reasonable. But guys, bear in mind, you lot are mentioning Semenyo, but Semenyo is priced at 70 million, reportedly. Reportedly, Semenyo is being priced at 70 million pounds. And for me, that's about 30 million too much, if I'm being honest. That's about 30 million. If United are going to drop 60 to 70 million on a player in the front line, it needs to be someone that's got a proven goal scoring record. Someone that will give you at least 15 goals in the league. At least. Or like Bryan Mbeumo got 20 goals in a Brentford side. Outside of Salah, etc. I think he was top 4, he was 5th in the golden boot race. Semenyo ain't giving you 20 goals. Not because he hasn't shown that he can give you 20 goals in the league consistently. He hasn't shown he can give you 15 goals consistently in the league. If you're gonna pay that money, I think you pay it based on the value, what you've seen in your face, i.e., you paying for what you've seen consistently. United's problem historically is that they brought Rasmus Højlund, and they're using Rasmus Højlund's kind of transfer as a benchmark. And that's what's annoying to me, is that Man United are using Rasmus Højlund's transfer fee and, you know, what they paid for they're using that as the benchmark in terms of the fact that, oh, we overpaid for Højlund, so let's not do that again. But that's Højlund. All due respect, that is Højlund. So I don't think that should be used as maybe like the comparative against Bryan Mbeumo. Mbeumo is far better than Semenyo. I agree. I totally agree. Ornstein a few weeks ago said Ruben is a big fan of Semenyo. Maybe he wants him for the wing-back position. Which side, though? Let me bring up Semenyo on the screen because you guys keep talking about him. What side are we talking, though? Because I thought we brought Patrick Dorgu for left wing-back. And I know that, I'm not going to lie, though. Man United, if they were to sign Semenyo, this idea of using wingers as wing-backs, it wouldn't backfire. Because if Manchester United were to sack Ruben Amorim, or if Ruben Amorim was to leave, you know, you've got wide players. if you were to change back to a back four that requires you to have wingers, you've got wingers because you had wingers playing as wing backs. However, with saying that, I just can't understand the logic of going for a player that has a 70 million price tag to play him as a left wing back when we just spent 35 million on a left wing back in the January transfer window. And I still think Patrick Dorgu will come good. I still think that he's got heaps of potential, heaps of talent, and he's still young. I feel like it's unfortunate, but at Manchester United, like, he joined halfway during the season, and people expected him to be a clinical left wing back immediately. And people tried to shift blame onto him for all of the chances that he was creating that wasn't getting put away. How can you blame him when he's putting it on a plate for the forwards? And that is why I think it's equally as important as it is to maybe sign a wing back. United need a striker. They need a striker. And that's why this Gyökeres saga for me needs to come to an end. Like, I feel like we need to have a solution. Now, his agent, can I just say, Gyökeres' agent is about to make bank. Guys, why is there anyone in the chat a football agent? Why is none of us football agents? Because why do they make so much money? They're actually like, it's crazy the amount of money that football agents make. I should have a career change, because there was a report yesterday. Was this yesterday? Yes, last night. Last night there was a report from Portugal suggesting that Sporting have threatened to demand 100 million euros for Gyökeres. And the agent has a mandate sell. By the way, apparently his agent is threatening legal action against Sporting. And the agent has a mandate sell, and Sporting will have to pay 10% of the value of a rejected bid if it exceeds 60 million. Can you believe that? Apparently this is what they're beefing about. This is one of the reasons why the agent and Sporting and all of this saga, someone just said it here, this saga is tired. Bro, I've been tired of this saga for the last week. For the last week, I've been like, when is this going to end? When is it going to end? But this is what is reportedly causing this whole fuss. The president coming out making a statement, the agent, giving information to journalists, Gyökeres posting a cryptic message on his Instagram, etc., etc. All of this is because of the sale process and the transfer fee, but it's also the fact that reportedly the agent is entitled. So any value of above 60 million that is rejected by Sporting must pay 10% of that to the agent. What? Who the hell agrees this stuff, guys? Who? I know the former president has left, but if that was him that agreed this, you've just been shafted. You've actually just been shafted, because what do you mean if Sporting reject anything above 60 million, they have to pay 10% of that to the agent? And then on top of that, they are now refusing to sell him for anything less than 100 million euros. Now, even the statement from the Sporting president a couple of days ago, he said something to me that was very damning in his statement, where he said, basically last summer they didn't want to put a release clause in his his contract because nobody came to buy him last summer. So there's no value for money for a 27-year-old having a release clause. No one's going to pay it, basically. And I don't know if Arsenal are legit in terms of their interest. Let's bring up this picture here. A very horrible picture. This picture is, I hate when people do half kits. But Arsenal are linked to Gyökeres as well. And I saw a report today that suggested that they are still interested in him and they haven't made a decision on Sesko. So I was under the impression that Benjamin Sesko was their target. That was the guy that they wanted. But reportedly, Arsenal haven't made a decision on Sesko, and they are still sniffing around the idea of Gyökeres. Now, I've seen also reports suggesting that they've made an offer for him, but I don't know how legit that is, because we haven't. I don't think I've only seen one journalist reporting that they had an offer rejected. I don't know if they will end up with him. I personally don't know if they will end up with him. He doesn't even look good in an Arsenal kit. Is that what we're judging players now, based on how good they look in the kit? Arsenal will get Sesko. I thought they would. I thought they would get him last summer. And the fact that last summer played out the way that it did, I can't lie. Arsenal fans did feel like, it did seem like for the best part of this season, Arsenal fans were convincing themselves they were going to get Isak. I won't forgive Ineos if we lose out on Osimhen over a player who's clearly said he wants UCL and is flirting with Arsenal in our face. Good point. Good point. But is there anybody in the chat that wants Victor Gyökeres? Please because I want to know how you feel about this comment here. And it is kind of true, the fact that it's been publicly reported that Victor Gyökeres doesn't want anyone in that's not competing in Champions League. And I don't think he wants Arsenal, but he's being linked to Arsenal. So we're taking all of that into consideration. And I actually thought, guys, let me actually bring this up. Can I just say that if United don't get Gyökeres, yeah, that's the second player that's rejected Ruben Amorim. Not that I'm like being bad vibes. Gyökeres' agent is crap. Apparently the same guy represents Amrabat. He's not the first time him family. I'm pretty sure he represents someone else as well. Victor Gyökeres' agent. I can't remember what's his agent's name. His agent's name is Hassan Setinkaya. I might have pronounced that name. He's a former footballer. Oh, he's a former Swedish footballer. Former Swedish footballer turned football agent. Oh my God, his list of guys. This guy's list of clients. Damn. Okay. He represents Frankie de Jong, Dennis Zakaria, Donny van der Beek, Victor Lindelof, Emil Forsberg, Victor Gyökeres. It's a lot of Swedish and Dutch players. He represents a lot of Swedish and Dutch players. Now, this is just some of the players, but Frankie, this makes so much sense. He represents Frankie de Jong. Do you guys remember? Oh my God. United should just walk away from this. This is not a good list of players that he represents. Not in the fact that they're not good players, but just think of how everything has panned out. Frankie de Jong, 2 summers in a row, forget that. Victor Lindelof, scary. I don't mind Victor, actually. You know, he was a good 7 of the club. Wasn't great, but he was okay. Donny van der Beek, the guy was literally refusing to leave Manchester United at one point. Noah Lang, he's got better. He represents a lot of people. Yeah, guys. I think United should move away from this. I think United should move away from this. We need to run. Yeah, United need to run. Big up to Ash, been a member for 12 months. Says that's a red flag. Let's walk away. PTSD de Jong. Honestly, that just seeing Frankie de Jong's name come up as one of the players that he represents has shook me a little bit to the core. Not because Frankie de Jong is a bad player, but just the way that saga played out, and it was very much he doesn't want to leave, and Barcelona are forcing him to leave, and Barcelona have accepted a bid. And this is why I always say, guys, necessarily just because a reporter says here we go, because I remember Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, both of them reporting that Manchester United had agreed a fee with Barcelona. Just because that happens doesn't mean the player is going to necessarily join. And that is why I think a lot of people are now agreeing personal terms with a player before they approach the club, because they don't want to approach the club, agree terms with the club, and then the player's like, nah, I don't want to join. So I guess that's why a lot of teams are starting to do that now. We could end up missing out on both Victors, and Rasmus leads the line again. Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, is being reported by Rob Dawson from ESPN that there is some faith at Manchester United that Rasmus Højlund will turn into a prolific goal scorer, or a prolific frontline striker, at Manchester United, the player that they had hoped they were getting when he arrived from Atalanta. So like I said at the beginning, guys, Portuguese media reporting that Gyökeres may have rejected Manchester United. Fabrizio is suggesting that Manchester United are still there. Verbatim, Fabrizio has said Manchester United are still calling him every day, and they are still there, but also Arsenal are there. And then other journalists putting out, I guess, feeler pieces about a Manchester United frontline being led by Rasmus Højlund next season, or a frontline being led by Joshua Zirkzee. So all the journalists, in my opinion, they are covering every base. They're covering each base of if United sign Gyökeres, if they don't, if they sign an alternative striker, if they don't, and if they don't sign any new striker, what is going to be the possibility of Rasmus leading the line or Joshua Zirkzee leading the line? I don't want to put this idea out there, guys. I'm sorry to do this to you guys. I'm really, really sorry to do this to you guys. This is a great graphic as well, guys. This graphic is making me sad. That's making me sad because United are moving too slow. But my question to you guys is, if United do not sign a striker, so if they don't sign any of the victors, they don't sign Mateta, they don't sign anyone, yeah? Are you happy with Zirkzee or Højlund leading the line if Manchester United sign Bryan Mbeumo? So if Man United sign Bryan Mbeumo, and just the thought of me saying that, oh my God, guys, just me saying that hurts. It actually hurts. Cunha can play striker. That is true. He can play up top. I feel like Zirkzee as a number 9 might be the better alternative out of the two strikers. If we lose both, we need to get Dominic Calvert-Lewin. No way. No way. No, absolutely not. I would much rather Joshua Zirkzee play as a striker, guys. Honestly, rather than signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll be all right with Zirkzee leading the line, to be honest. If it's like a last resort kind of thing, I wouldn't be happy with it. But I would try and like support it. But I necessarily wouldn't be happy with it. And I only say that with the fact that I would like the possible prospect of United signing a midfielder. And I said this earlier, and I say this all the time, the lack of links to a midfielder is scaring me right now. Breadwinner says we'll sign a striker. That's clear. I wish my belief was as strong as yours. When our club has been a cesspool of broken dreams and toxicity, Calvert-Lewin is... Wesley's saying Calvert-Lewin is more on our level than all the other strikers that we're being linked to. Jonathan David and Zirkzee. It's interesting that Jonathan Zirkzee is not really linked to a lot of people. I've seen him linked to Juventus, and I've seen him linked to Napoli. That's about it. But he's still not really having there's not like Jonathan David is a weird one because every summer he's available. Every summer he's been available, and yet he never found himself leaving Lille, and now he finds himself leaving Lille for free, and teams are still not really sniffing around him and looking around him. And this is a guy, guys, that has scored like consistently. Like the guy has scored consistently for Lille in terms of in the league, in the champs, etc. This season, he's got 16 goals in the league. Last season, 19. The season before that, 24. The season before that, 15. The season before that, 13. He scored 9 goals in the champs this year as well. The guy has scored consistent double-digit goals, and nobody is even interested in him. Like, it's interesting. It's funny because I would have thought teams like even like maybe West Ham or something. I thought West Ham maybe would look at him as a free. He's got like he's like a West Ham type signing, in my opinion, a striker that can score outside of Europe, but just wants to join the Premier League. But that's it. That's it. Are there any midfielders who are on a free in this current transfer window? Not many. The free agency this year, it's not really much. Look at this, top of the list of the free. This is the free agency market. Here you go. This is the free agency market this year. Should we sign Messi, guys? Should we sign Messi? Jonathan David is available, as I mentioned, on a free. Tyreek Mitchell. I know his agent, guys. His agent is from my area. I don't know if he would be a good signing for United. I like Tyreek Mitchell personally. I think he's a good player. I just don't know what's that. I remember we were linked to him as well sometime last year. Calvert-Lewin, Kyle Walker-Peters, Ronaldo, Neymar. Bro, there's actually, what the hell? Verratti. What are you doing in Qatar, Verratti? Nelson Semedo. If I see United linked to Nelson Semedo, guys, I will actually lose it. Rudy Bardaji. This is the guy that he batted us up in the Champions League, right? If I'm not wrong, guys, this kid here, he batted us up. Was it in the Champions League or the Europa League? That he played pretty well. He's linked to Porto. I saw him linked to Porto, and he's linked to another team. I think it was Marseille. I think he's linked to Marseille. We are linked to Semedo. We got no business being linked to Semedo. Callum Wilson, Akram Afif. This guy's staying in Qatar. Like, guys, the quality of players available on a free agency is non-existent. It's the quality of players, I think, is completely non-existent. Ronaldo, Messi, and Neymar being available on frees. One last dance, guys. I'm joking. But yeah, there's not really many midfielders available on a free either. So that is worrying to me, the amount of players that, or the lack of players that United are being linked to in midfield. I was going to bring up something else, but the biggest conversation that we are having here, guys, is the striker conversation. I actually want to talk about all the strikers that United are linked to. I want to talk about all the strikers that United are linked to and the prospects of who United could possibly end up signing. I think number one, Gyökeres. Number two, I don't know about Victor Osimhen. Personally, I don't know how likely Victor Osimhen is. Mateta, it sounds like he's signing a new bid. It sounds like he's signing a new deal with Crystal Palace. Oh, actually, before we actually talk about the strikers, because we spoke enough about them. We spoke enough about the strikers for now. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Oh, I want to hear you guys. Someone just reminded me on the topic of Onana. You lot just reminded me. In a little clip that's circulating on the internet right now, Onana was asked about his future at Manchester United. He said, "Will I leave? I don't know. We will see." I don't think Onana's going anywhere, guys. I don't think Onana's going anywhere. And the reason why I don't think Onana's going anywhere, I think no one wants him. Ornstein Bomber. What's the Ornstein Bomber? I got my notifications on for Ornstein. Is that sad, guys? The Ornstein Bomber is this. Al Ahly make contact with Ange Postecoglou. It was, bro, Fabrizio reported this yesterday. If Ange goes there for a year and then comes back, I can see it happening. Nuno did the same thing, guys. That's not the bomber I want to hear. That's not. It's not. You lot are telling me about a bomber about something that's got nothing to do with United. That's not a bomber. That's a fart. Pause. Anyways, Onana. I don't think he's leaving. I don't really think Andre Onana is going to leave, and I don't think anybody wants him, which is good. I can't believe you lot said to me in the chat a bomber. Like, that is not a bomber, guys. That is not a bomber. Minna, would you keep Rashford? Oh, don't do this. Don't do this because people already accuse me of being part of Rashford, the Rashford beehive. Let's actually talk about Marcus Rashford because I can't believe Ineos got people hating Rashford. Let's talk about Rashford, guys. Let's talk about Rashford. I can't believe somebody said Bomba in the chat for Al Ahly making a move for Ange Postecoglou. That's not what we want to hear, guys. On this Saturday afternoon, that's not what we want to hear. I think Rashford will end up going on loan again, but like a small boy loan, not Barcelona. Barcelona, he needs to put that dream in the bin. And what I mean by him putting that dream in the bin, not that he's not good enough, but Barcelona have potentially the opportunity to sign Nico Williams. If Barcelona beat Bayern Munich to the signing of Nico Williams, that's huge because they will have two of the biggest. They would have Nico Williams, Pedri, Kubasi, Yamal, some of the biggest young Spanish players, right? And that would be good for their kind of image. I think Marcus Rashford is so sad, man. Right, so sad. The only way I see him going to Barcelona is if he's a bench boy, like he's coming off the bench and he's playing in Copa del Rey, like rotational games, etc. That's the only way I see him going there. And he takes a huge pay cut. And United take a huge transfer cut, i.e. they sell him for like 20 million. No one's going to buy Rashford for 40 million unless he takes a pay cut. So Manchester United can freeze him out as much as they want, but they have to be realistic with their expectations as well. They've given, like, I would love to see Marcus Rashford in a front line playing with Cunha and Mbeumo. I would love to see that, but we're not going to get to see that. One of Amram's best games that I can remember is his performance, the performance against Everton, third game under Ruben Amorim, and he had Bruno, Rashford, Xerxes. And what was Xerxes doing? Dropping into the 10, rotating with Rashford. Rashford scored. I think he scored once or twice. I can't remember, but I know that he scored once, and one of those came from him making those runs in behind from the space that Joshua Xerxes vacated because Joshua Xerxes was dropping in. I would like to see that happen, but we're never going to see that. We are never going to see that because I think Ineos has made up their mind on Marcus Rashford, and it's very sad because in my eyes, guys, Marcus Rashford was meant to retire a Manchester United player. He was meant to retire as a Manchester United player. He was meant to go on and maybe lift a major trophy with them. At best, he's picked up Europa is probably the best. I also think Marcus Rashford has to make the right decision. And what I mean by making the right decision is that it's the World Cup next year. Potentially, it might be the last opportunity he actually gets to be part of a World Cup squad. The next World Cup, he'll be like, what, 31? There'll be younger players bursting onto the scene that are 23, 24, getting more of a chance. By that time, I think people like Ethan Nwaneri and whatnot, they will probably have more of a shot in the England team for that World Cup than people like Marcus Rashford will. So if Marcus Rashford genuinely wants to go to one more World Cup in an England shirt, his decision this summer has to be the best decision possible, which is going somewhere that you're going to flourish, that you're going to play regular football, and most importantly, that you're going to perform well. And if that means outside of England, I don't really know how many teams would be able to. I don't know how many teams will be able to afford to buy him. So what are you saying? Rather Rashford than Mbeumo? No, I want Mbeumo. I want Mbeumo. Someone just asked me whether I would take Rashford back in the team, and it's not necessarily me taking him back. Is the conversation I'm thinking is how likely is it going to be that he's going to get reintegrated into the team, which again is a possibility, but I think there's 1% possibility. Now with Manchester United, looking at alternative strikers, and you know what? One thing I realized, guys. I don't know if you guys realized this, but last summer when we were linked to a striker, before we signed Xerxes, we saw like multiple names popping up. I don't know if you guys have realized that it's the only 3 names that have kind of been cemented in terms of United are interested, or there has been legit links to. It's Gyökeres, Osimhen, and Mateta. Doesn't that worry you guys a little bit? Or does that worry you guys a little bit that Manchester United are not linked to that many strikers? But also, I feel one thing I will say is that I also believe that there's not, and the lap, that's it. I also believe that there's not many good strikers. Like, I feel like the striker market this summer is just not all that. But also, not only is it not that great, I mean, the best strikers are already at a team right now. Haaland, Isaac, Lewandowski, Kane, the best nines are comfortable where they are right now. So you look at the other strikers that are potentially available, but then you look at the flip side of that and you think, how many players that are available on the market are looking at United as a legit destination? When you've got, Arsenal looking for a striker and Chelsea looking for a striker, and if Liverpool sell Darwin Núñez, they'll be looking for a striker. How many players are actually looking at Man United as a legit option? I'm not saying Man United don't have any pool, but what Man United have to offer is limited. And then on top of that, you got people like Barada and Amrim that have come out publicly and said, we're not going to sign people who just want to play in competitions for Manchester United. We're going to sign people that want to play for Man United. But you have to have a little bit of incentive to intrigue a player to join your club. And it was reported that when Delap rejected Manchester United, it was reported that he wasn't convinced about whether there was no reassurances that Amarim would remain in terms of his project, him being the face of the project. There was no reassurances there. But I'm thinking Delap is probably looking around now and saying, you know what? I joined Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson is the only striker here at the moment, but now Chelsea are being linked to other strikers to sign a new number 9. I don't know if Delap made the right choice, personally. Options are limited. After these 4, who else is there? Ekitike, David, Sesko. Ekitike for 100 million, for me, is crazy. But also, can I just say, Ekitike for 100 million on a lower salary, or maybe like a more average in your salary, which is like 110, 125, 150, something about that. That, as an overall package, would probably be slightly less than if United were to have an overall package for Osimhen or for Gyökeres. But the way that I see it is that if you are signing a striker, you sign the best possible one. Because I feel like striker is the one position that you can't afford to get wrong. Like, you cannot afford to get... Like, we've seen it firsthand. United getting it wrong with Højlund. We've seen it firsthand how detrimental it can be. Manchester United cannot afford to get that striker situation wrong, which is why I say this all the time. And, people say to me, oh, United's money don't grow on trees, etc., etc. But the two positions that you should never, ever, ever compromise is your striker and your goalkeeper. That's it. Your striker and your goalkeeper. You should never, ever compromise that. Because one is scoring you goals and the other one is stopping you from conceding. Ekitike is a risk even at 60 million. Let me bring him up on the screen. You guys know when I'm talking about a player, I like to have a visual. By the way, guys, I tweeted randomly. This is how you know football's so random. Because why did I randomly tweet saying Ekitike backwards is Ekitike? And it's gone viral. But when I tweet very inspiring football opinions, it don't go viral. Look at this, guys. I even muted it. I didn't even realize that it went viral until I saw some. Look at this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me zoom in. Are you having a laugh? I just tweeted so randomly saying Ekitike's name backwards is Ekitike because I found that so interesting. And it went viral randomly. But when I tweet great football opinions, people don't want to make that go viral. What am I doing wrong? But anyways, back on Ekitike, shout out to Ridwan, who says, Ekitike is a risk even at 60 million. When do these young strikers work at Man United nowadays? He's only had one good season at Frankfurt and he couldn't get going at PSG. That's true, but in the same breath, people will say to you, we should sign Gonzalo Ramos. Can I just say that? People will say, let's sign Gonzalo Ramos, who has a good return from in terms of minutes to goals, but when you take into consideration everything else, he can't get going at PSG. So I do agree with to an extent. I said this earlier in the stream. I said that the only time United should look to drop 70 million plus on a forward, it should only be when you're guaranteed goals. Ekitike has only scored double-digit goals this season in his career. Last season, I think he scored 4 goals in the league for Frankfurt. And Frankfurt probably look at Omar Marmoush. And I'm not going to lie, guys, if United wanted a forward, we should have signed Marmoush. Like, if you're going to Frankfurt and you've got 60 million plus to spend, you should have brought Marmoush. I mean, United maybe never stood a chance against City. But I think out of the two of them, Marmoush would have worked better if United are actually signing Mbeumo, and now we've got Cunha. And obviously, in hindsight, you know, United didn't know 6 months ago that they would end up, you know, signing Cunha and maybe being in for signing Brian Mbeumo. But I just think that the return on, I feel like the return on Ekitike is slightly risky. I do believe it is slightly risky for that transfer fee. There's nothing to guarantee he's going to hit the ground running. You've just now signed another potential that, yes, has more goals than what Højlund did when we signed him, but it's still, you're signing potential. You're not signing the reality of the player. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Realistically, we should be cashing out for Osimhen. What do you guys think is the reason why we're not linked to Victor Osimhen, or we're not signing him? Because I feel like Victor Osimhen, it's a weird one. He's the best striker that's available right now. For me, Victor Osimhen is the best striker available right now, and yet we're still not signing him. And people you lot are saying wages. He wants 190 after tax. What's that, like 380? That's like 380, 350, something like that. That's around 350 to 380. If he wanted money, if it was purely money, he would have went to Saudi. But I also believe that he wants to stay in Europe. I know he wants to stay in Europe, which for me, it kind of makes sense why Galatasaray is a legit destination for him, because they've offered him 20 million, I think it is, for a year. I think they've offered him 20 million in a year. And then on top of that, he's in Europe. So being in Turkey is perfect, guys, because you're still close to Europe, i.e. mainland Europe, and he's still close to Africa. He's not far away like in Saudi. He still has decent weather, good money. You know, the football passion is out of this world in Turkey. And you still get to play European football. So I have a feeling he might stay at Galatasaray. I don't know how likely Galatasaray. What is the biggest transfer fee that Galatasaray have ever paid for a player? Galatasaray transfer fees. I want to see what's the most that they've ever paid for a transfer, and I just want to see how likely it is that they spend. All right, so let's look at arrivals. 18 million last year was the most they spent. Then the year after that, 10 million on Icardi. The year after that, it was 15 million on Zaniolo. The year, okay, they don't spend. Guys, Galatasaray don't spend money. They don't. Why are we talking? Yeah, he might go on loan there again. Plus, good food. That's true. There's good food. I can't lie. If we get Osimhen, the mentality would change differently. We can only dream. I'm not joking, guys. If we were to get Galatasaray, what? You guys can tell English is not my first language. If we were to get Victor Osimhen, that for me will make me believe in this project. Because I'm still skeptical. I don't know how you guys feel about this Ineos project. I'm still very skeptical about it. I'm skeptical about the direction it's going. I'm skeptical about the manager. I'm skeptical about the players. I'm skeptical about Ineos. I'm skeptical about Barada. I'm skeptical about everybody. But if United were to pull this off and sign Victor Osimhen. What is going on with me today? Oh my god, this is you guys' fault. You lot told me to do an early stream today, and now my brain is bugging out. But if we were to sign Victor Osimhen, I will believe. I will absolutely begin to believe in this project. Not necessarily. I'm not saying I'm fully gonna buy into it. From what I heard from ESPN latest, Osimhen is not Wage's problem. It's his entourage and what he did in Napoli. Somebody else was saying this in the chat one day. Someone who is, they said they were Nigerian as well. They were saying, oh, if you are annoyed with like Rashford and Garnacho's entourage, you guys will not be able to stand Victor Osimhen's one. I'm like, since when did entourages of football players become main characters? Since when, guys, did entourages become main characters? Like, my dream is to, like, if I ever had a relative who's a professional footballer, I would be part of their entourage, but I'd just be hiding in the background. Just pay me a monthly fee just to be around for my presence, and that's it. But you're telling me these entourages have main character syndrome, and they're like, for example, look at Gyökeres' agent, who's essentially blown up this entire transfer thing because of contractual obligations that he's agreed with Sporting. By the way, the contractual obligation, it sounds like Gyökeres' agent has agreed with Sporting, and that he's claiming it has no impact on Gyökeres. It has no impact on his career, on his decision making, none of that stuff. Because current time they have major influence on players. They do look at Pogba. That's true. Pogba's entourage that was led by his agent at the time, who died, Raiola, crazy. It started with Neymar's entourage. Wasn't it his dad that was the face of it? Wasn't his dad the face of it? Morgan says, we're signing Gyökeres, not Osimhen. Stop dreaming. I'm not mad about Gyökeres, guys. I've said this time and time and time again. I don't mind United signing Gyökeres as long as they sign Mbeumo first. Like, as long as United get Mbeumo done, I don't mind if they sign Gyökeres, because I've said this time and time again. Signing Gyökeres makes sense if you have Mbeumo. Why? If you watch Gyökeres and you watch the way that Mbeumo and Cunha play, they will play off of each other. Gyökeres is less direct, I would say, than Victor Osimhen in terms of as a number 9. Like, I said this a couple of days ago. I said this in a video that I made earlier last week. I said Victor Osimhen would have thrived in the 2000s as a striker, as a target number 9. He would have thrived. The way that he flourishes is when he's his box movement is elite, and he creates a lot of moments for himself in terms of just from movement and being in the right place. Osimhen does not play back to goal, link up play, that kind of stuff. That's not his expertise. His expertise is running in behind, occupying the back line, getting in and around the centre backs, movement in the box, and he can strike the ball pretty well. Gyökeres is quite opposite, and that's why I believe if United do not sign Mbeumo, this is just a hot take. If United don't and they pull out of the race for Bryan Mbeumo, I think they will go for Victor Osimhen. But if Man United manage to sign Mbeumo, they will go for Gyökeres, unless he fully rejects them. That's it. Unless he fully rejects them, and that's just the reports in Portugal. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, we're taking it with a pinch of salt. But Gyökeres just makes sense to me if United have Mbeumo and Cunha behind him. With Ahmad in behind him, it don't make sense. Gyökeres doesn't make sense to me at Manchester United. But with Ahmad and Cunha, Osimhen makes sense. If that makes sense. I'm saying the word sense a lot, guys. I'm saying that a lot. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Bruno and Osimhen would thrive. I actually have a question for you guys. Thank you for bringing up thank you very much for bringing up Bruno, because I want to know. Let me find a good. Okay, this is all I got. This is the best picture that I got. Who do you guys see starting in Man United's midfield next season? Who do you guys see starting for Manchester United in the midfield next season. We're talking with the assumption that Bruno is the starting midfielder there. I can't lie. The thought of Bruno there is slightly worrying to me. And the reason why I say that, I just feel like Bruno has played better in the midfield too when he's put there later in the game. Because when he starts there, I don't know if you guys realize, when he starts there, and there's been quite a few games that we've seen him start there, it's not been the best of performances. Now, with saying that, I can't believe how many of you guys have said Ugarte and Bruno. Wow. Bruno Ugarte or Bruno Cass. So everyone's agreeing Bruno starting. Baba Yaga says, I just don't want to see Bruno in that central too. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Bruno and Ugarte, Bruno Ugarte. You guys are all saying Bruno and Ugarte. I don't know. Kobe should be our midfielder. Kobe Mainoo should be one of Man United's starting midfielders. But the thing is there's a lot of things I don't like about this system that United play. But one of them is probably this midfield too, because so many times in this midfield too, we come up against teams that are playing a midfield three, and it always feels like an overload. It always feels like an overload. It felt like that under Ten Hag. It feels like that under Amorim. I just feel like there's always an overload all the time. Mina, can you put a starting 11 on your screen? Let me see if I can bring that up. What is the best website for me to use? There's a website that I used to use, build a starting 11. It's so jokes when I go to people's predicted starting 11 or preferred starting 11. This is probably what it would. It's something like this. This is probably what our midfield will look like. I think Amad at right wing back, Dorgu at left wing back. I hate the idea of a midfield too, guys. I hate the idea of a midfield too. Surely now Kobe should be the main guy. What is Kobe's position? Like, where would he be say? I have this conversation all the time, like even with my friends who are United fans that are like not creators. We have this conversation all the time about where does Kobe fit, etc., etc. You know, and I'm amazed that some people are leaning towards the idea of pushing Mainoo out the door and selling him because they believe that there's nowhere for him to fit in the system. And I don't know necessarily. I feel like people have, what's the word? Regressive memory. I don't even know if that's a term. But people are judging Kobe Mainoo off of this season. This season that has been, I think, a roller coaster of a season, not just for the fans, but for the players as well, because they've changed systems halfway through the season and it's completely deteriorated the way that they were used to working. Kobe Mainoo, under Erik Ten Hag in his first season, that is what you should be judging Kobe Mainoo on, in terms of what you expect him to play like or how you expect him to play. Kobe in the Euros is what you should. England progressively improved once the inclusion of Kobe Mainoo occurred. Recency bias. Yes, recency. It is recency bias. It is 100% recency bias. And it's because of the injury kind of situations he found himself this season, but also the lack of game time. Why does Amorim look drunk in that pic? He looks like he's been crying, guys. This picture, he's got red eyes. He looks like he's been crying. Alonso will play 4-3-3 at Real Madrid, while Conte won the Serie A with 4-3-3. You know what I miss? I miss 4-4-2. I miss 4-4-2 football. I grew up watching teams playing 4-4-2. That was a good time. But this idea that teams, because I saw a lot of the argument to support Amorim at the end of the season was, look at Inzaghi. He's reached the Champions League final with a 3-4-3. 3-5-2, actually. They're playing 3-5-2. So everyone's argument was, look, Inzaghi has gotten there with a 3-5-2 to the Champions League. That's twice in the space of how many years? And then what happened to that 3-5-2? Just because a manager plays a similar back three to Amorim doesn't mean Amorim's system will succeed the way that has. Because there's a lot of other, I think, tangible parts of the story that people are choosing not to take into consideration. They're not taking into consideration how long Inzaghi has been there, you know, how many players he was able to bring into the team to be able to play like that. He's not even talking, no one's talking about the fact that he got smoked 5-0 and ran to Saudi Arabia. Like, do you know how humiliating it is, guys? Not only humiliating, can I say, to lose in a Champions League final, yeah? But to lose 5-0, and then by the Monday, you're in Paris meeting with Al Hilal officials because you're going to go to Saudi. Just because one paintbrush doesn't paint all, I guess. That's the point that I'm trying to get at. Just because Inzaghi was able to get to, like, when I watched Inter this season, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Inter because I was, you know, intrigued about how Amorim can utilize, you know, what Inzaghi does and implement it at Manchester United. The only thing I was interested about was how Inzaghi used his wingbacks. And then I watched AC Milan and Sergio Conceição. If you had watched AC Milan to the latter stages of the season, guys, they started playing a back three as well with wingbacks. And guess what? Conceição, I think they let him go at the end of the season. Crazy, because he won them a trophy. But he was playing a back three towards the end of the season, beating teams like Inter Milan in the Coppa Italia. You know, smoking them, humiliating them. Not only that, he was playing a back three with wingbacks with no new players. Now, despite that, I 100% agree AC Milan did poor last season for what their expectation is. But when he altered his system and utilized the players that he had, he was able to implement a style of football. And the only thing that I was curious about was, how can he do that? With, obviously, he was actually in my opinion, he was in a similar situation to Ruben Amorim in terms of the fact that he was in number one, lost in the cup final to Bologna. So they had a cup final on the horizon. Poor form in the league, poor form in Europe. So he didn't, similar to Ruben Amorim, it was a similar story. But he was able to, I think, once he decided to change his system, he was able to play in the way that he wanted to play and implement the style of football like he did. Bayer Leverkusen, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they perform now that, you know, obviously Xabi Alonso has left and Erik ten Hag has come in. I mean, I don't think personally they will change completely. Personally, in my opinion, I don't think it will be a complete change. Damn, Xavi is also linked to the job at Al Ahly. What the hell? Minot 3-5-2 with Osimhen and Gyökeres outside and 3 in midfield. United can't even get one of them. Robert, United can't even sign one of them. You think United will sign 2 of them? I don't think so. I don't know, man, guys. I'm trying to not be negative. I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible with the transfer window and the way that everything is going. I'm trying to be as positive, but also I'm losing patience. Is Al Ahly any good? Well, the Al Ahly that is playing in the Club World Cup against Inter Miami is not the Al Ahly that Ange Postecoglou is linked to. There's two Al Ahly teams. This Al Ahly that's playing in the Club World Cup is the Egyptian team. They are like the Egyptian, I would say they're like the Africa version of Real Madrid. Like they are a superstar team in Africa. They dominate Egyptian football. They dominate African Champions Leagues, etc. I think they're good, but also Inter Miami, they're not that great, are they? I don't watch the MLS much, but I don't think Inter Miami are that good. Sting says, Mina, I'm not surprised if we end up with Cunha only. Oof. The thought of that. That's a possibility. There's a lot of, I think if we talk about all the possible possibilities, there is a lot of potential outcomes to this scenario right now. The best outcome is that United sign Mbeumo, and then they get Gyökeres or Osimhen in the door. That's the best outcome. Second best is that United sign. I'll say second best is that United sign Osimhen or Gyökeres, but they don't sign Mbeumo. That's the second best. Third best, I'll say United sign Mbeumo, but they don't sign a striker and they persist with Xerxes and Højlund. And the worst case scenario is this happens, that we only end up with Cunha. Because if we don't sign Mbeumo, guys, who else is there to sign? Like, I know you lot mention, like the fact that we're mentioning Justin Kluivert, who, all due respect, I think is a decent player, but I don't see him leaving Bournemouth unless he's going to Bayer Leverkusen or something. I personally don't see another Premier League team coming in for him. Semenyo, I don't think so. I don't think United pay 70 million for Semenyo. I mean, if you don't want to pay 70 million for Mbeumo, then surely you're not going to pay 70 million for Semenyo. Dibbling has a 50 million price tag. There is no way Man United are going to pay that. They're going to argue the fact that he's relegated. He's coming from a relegation team. There's no way United are paying 50 million to a relegated team. Alvarez, as in Julian Alvarez. SLD, bro, give me whatever you're on. If you think United could ever sign Alvarez. Alvarez is going to Liverpool, I think. Alvarez might end up at Liverpool. After that better days are coming speech from Amorim, signing only Cunha will be the biggest slap to the fans. United are close to signing Mbeumo, who has his heart set on joining United. I doubt there is any truth to the Gyökeres story. Remember, some of these stories are made up by people that hate United. Not just that, David. It's not even just people that hate United. It's also people that hate Sporting. So, like, there's huge rivalries in Portugal between Porto and Benfica, etc. They could also put stories out there about Sporting, about this 100 million price tag, about the fact that they're not going to sell them for, like, it's not just United that have a lot to lose, I think, from this situation, in my opinion. They're not the only people that have a lot to lose or a lot to plant out in terms of stories. Alvarez will go Barca next year, Mina. I don't know. Watkins! No, you guys are trolling in the chat, I think. I think you guys are trolling. I think you lot woke up on a Saturday afternoon and said, you know what? I'm just going to troll. We're just going to troll Min in the chat, because I seen someone say Dominic Calvert-Lewin earlier. Someone said Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Imran is saying Watkins. And then someone saying Alvarez. I would love Alvarez at United, but it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, guys. It's never going to happen. He's not leaving Atletico to join Manchester United. What happened to Gyökeres? I remember making videos about Gyökeres last year, guys. I have to go back on my channel to see when I was making these streams. And you lot, people were saying we shouldn't sign Gyökeres last January because he's injury prone. The guy slapped up the Champions League comfortably. Let me see. When was I doing these videos about Gyökeres? It was sometime in the summer. Yeah, sometime in January, sorry. Bro, this is how you know football is crazy, yeah? Transfer windows are jokes, because do you know how many times I've had Osimhen in my thumbnail dating a whole year back? A whole year back, we were talking about Osimhen. Gyökeres, I don't think is going to leave Dortmund. Who? Gyökeres has a 70 million clause. Is that what you lot are saying? I'm not trolling, Minna. With Ineos in charge, anything is possible. Ekitike suits you guys, Minna. Do you think so? Because we've had this conversation today about Ekitike, and I haven't seen anybody so far say that they want United to sign Ekitike. I don't know if is there anybody that wants United to sign Ekitike. Oh, that kid from Porto, he's good. He's good. Guys, This is next levels of trolling. Like, this is next levels of trolling. Duran is a good option. He isn't settled in Saudi. Saudi ain't gonna sell him for cheap. And he hasn't settled in Saudi because he doesn't live in Saudi. And that shows to me that you're not there to play football. You're just there for the paycheck, which some people say a lot of players do that. In terms of going to Saudi, they're just there for the paycheck. Duran going to Saudi for me has always been the most question mark move. It was so random. And I think Victor Boniface was actually meant to go and join Al Nassr then. And then they moved to Duran instead. You know what, guys? Let's actually talk about Duran. Let's actually talk about John Duran. Because I wouldn't be completely against him. It depends on the price. For me, it depends on the price. And also, the only thing that makes me a bit skeptical about Duran is the fact that he never really played consistent first team football at Aston Villa, right? He never had consistent first team football at Aston Villa. And I don't want to be a hypocrite and say United should sign a young player. Because I've been saying all this time United shouldn't. I just want to bring up his stats here quickly. His stats at Al Nassr, and he's only been there for half a season, guys. 8 goals. I think if you were playing in the Saudi league, guys, how many goals do you think you could score? Because I'm looking at this 8 goals, I'm thinking that's not really that impressive. But he's got what? 18 appearances. He's got 12 goals. Honestly, guys, yeah. Quickly, before we continue from this conversation, how many goals do you guys think you are scoring if you are playing in the Saudi league? Because I think I could get like, I think I could get 3 goals maybe in the league. I think if I played in the Saudi league, I think I could get 3 goals, like 2 tap-ins and a penalty. I think I could get 2 tap-ins and a penalty. You lot are saying 15. You guys are having a 20 plus. You lot are actually on crack. 40. I'm getting 2. And then see, this is realistic. Saying I could get 2. I think I could get 3 goals across like 30 games, all comps, by the way, all competitions. I'm getting 3 goals, which would be 2 goals and a penalty. 98 rated mid. If you lot don't know the joke, I got a card behind me that I'm rated 98, and then I got another one here that's rated 99 as well. I think I could get 2 goals. But John Duran, even at Aston Villa, he didn't have a bad turnover. Is there a women's Saudi league? There is. It's probably, I think they're 2 years into it now. So it's still quite underdeveloped. Al Nassr, I think I've won it 2 years in a row. Minute is a 5GA player. 5GA. Minute 3 goals, 12 red cards. That sounds about right. 12 red cards. Yeah. It absolutely sounds about right. Another player that United have been linked to, by the way, guys, and I know a lot of you lot turning their noses up. Mitrovic. Mitrovic is one that intrigues me a little bit because this is a proven striker. Like, when I'm looking at John Duran, I'm looking at his trajectory at Aston Villa, right? And you know, he didn't score much in Villa in terms of in the season. In 2 seasons, across 2 seasons, he's got 12 goals in the league, I think, for them. But Mitrovic is a proven, guys, be honest, Mitrovic is a proven goal scorer. I'm not saying that United need to sign him, but I'm saying that if worse comes to worse and United don't, like, Gyökeres actually signs for Arsenal, and United are arguing that they don't want to spend time to spend the money, on Osimhen. Imagine a front line of Cunha and Mitrovic. They're averaging a red card every other season. Every other game or every other 3 games, they're averaging a thing. So this is his stats in his career so far. And does Imran said, does his GA reduce every year? Not really. Not really. So let's look at the most recent years, yeah, because this is actually not that bad. Like 14 goals for a newly promoted Fulham. 14 goals for a newly promoted Fulham. 43 goals in Championship. By the way, when people are talking about Gyökeres, they talk about what he did in the Championship. 28 goals at Al Hilal in his first season, 16 in his fin. The only thing is the guy don't really assist. He's not really much of an assister. But let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Mitrovic is a threat. Now, it goes against what I stand for in terms of, 30 years old, you're getting 2 years max at top level of a striker. And after that, he's going to start to be on the decline. But I'm just trying to think of all the possible scenarios. He's 30. Yeah, he's 30. I think he's turning 31. I think he's turning 31 soon. I'd rather Tony over Mitrovic. I don't think Al Ahly are gonna. Excuse me. Firstly, I don't think Saudi are gonna be an easy team to talk to. We're not signing from Saudi. I agree. The only player I'd take from Saudi is Kante. The only player I'm taking from Saudi is Kante. Big up to Yo-Yo with the super chat. First super chat of the day. Big up Yo-Yo. Mina, when will you drop a video on your second channel? When I get to 100 subs. The video, the channel link is in the bio of every video. Go and subscribe. I think I'm on like 60 something. So when I hit 100 subs, I will drop a video. I'm gonna probably post some FIFA FC stuff, and I'll probably post. I really want to start doing reviews of like games that I play. I get a lot of games sent to me and whatnot, so I really want to start doing reviews of games or like story modes. So like, for example, I'm planning even though FC 25 is coming to an end soon, and the new one will be out in September, I want to do a rebuild Manchester United kind of storyline with on FC 25, where I just sim, like I buy a bunch of players and I sim it. That's the kind of things I'm trying to do. And also I want to go live on there, like with Twitch, go live on there as well when I do gaming stuff. But I think to go live, I need 100 subs. So there is over 100 people here. So if everyone actually goes and subscribes, that would be great. And also, let me know what you guys want to see on there, because I wanted to differentiate my channel. Originally, I wanted to start a new channel to post everything football related that's not Man United, but I realized it's going to be very difficult for me to maintain 2 channels for football content. So as you lot realize here, I do a lot of football stuff, transfer window videos across other teams, but the live streams are predominantly always Manchester United stuff. So on that other channel, it's called More Minna. I would just do a mix and match of stuff, and I'll probably drop Twitch highlights. There you go. I'll probably stream on Twitch, because let's be honest, guys, during this time of the year is when I have the most time. Like, I have the most time in my life to stream, because there's not much football on, even with the Club World Cup starting. So I want to do more gaming stuff, and I do that over on Twitch. So I'll probably just post all my highlights on there. But you know how long it is to like stream for like 5 hours, and then I edit all my videos, guys. I do all my thumbnails. I do all my social media stuff. I make all my short form content. I do everything. I don't outsource anything except for some of my thumbnails. I have a thumbnail maker. So sometimes it's long to stream for 5 hours and then sit there and edit everything. But I'm going to do it as long as you guys go and subscribe to the channel. But yeah, if you guys have just come through, obviously the biggest conversation that we're having here is regarding the news from Portugal that Victor Gyokeres has reportedly turned down Manchester United. We are taking it with a pinch of salt. You guys already know that. We're still going to talk about it, but we are going to take it with a pinch of salt. Which team do you think has done well this transfer window? Good question. Good question. I will say probably City. Probably City, but they got. If I had unlimited money, I would be flying around on a private jet and living on a yacht off of Monaco, guys. They got unlimited money. Real Madrid have had a very good window. Real Madrid have had a very good window. They've signed Dean Howson. Like they're not effing around when it comes to losing in the manner that they did across the season. Yeah, they lost the league. They got knocked out of champs. They were humiliated consecutively by Barcelona. So what did they do? They turned around. They dropped Dean Howson. You know, they dropped 50 million release clause on Dean Howson. Said we'll pay it, no problem. They hijacked Mastantuono from PSG. He was set to join PSG. PSG reportedly agreed terms with the club, with River Plate. It's only when Real Madrid swooped in, he said his preference was to go to Real Madrid. One thing about Real Madrid, guys, can I say? One thing about Real Madrid is that they will always have pull, no matter what. Like, I wish Man United was like that. Honestly, like, I actually wish Manchester United was like that. Because no matter what, Real Madrid will always have pull to sign who they want. If Real Madrid come knocking, and you saw it with the Trent thing, if Real Madrid come knocking, you will join them. It's not a matter of if you will join them. It's a matter of when you'll join them. So I think Real Madrid have had a good window. I do think as well, to an extent, Liverpool have as well, bringing in 2 new signings. They still, I think Florian Wirtz is set to be announced next week, and he's having his medical next week. But they're already moving to Gyökeres as well next, and it's been reported that it's not the only moves that they're making in terms of there could be another big signing that they make as well this summer. So there is quite a lot happening. Man United's transfer window is moving very slow, and I think some of it is because of this Gyökeres situation. I have a feeling that Mbeumo will do us dirty. You think so? Quickly in the chat, guys. Just say in the chat, Spurs or United. Where do you think Mbeumo ends up? Just say Spurs or United. Taking into consideration everything, like how all of this is playing out, taking all of that into consideration, just say in the chat, where do you think he ends up? All right, so a lot of you lot still have the faith. A lot of you guys, thank God, you guys have a bit of faith, because me, I'm starting to lose faith. I'm trying to stay confident and reassured. I think we get the here we go on Monday. I think we might actually get a huge update tomorrow, guys. I think we might get a huge update tomorrow. I hope it's not between the hours of 6 and 8 though, because I've got football at that time. So I hope it's not between 6 and 8. Hope is the only thing Man United fans have at the time. It's true. All right, everyone consecutively agreeing. Oh, Yusuf's the only one that says Spurs. Big up, Min. I love your channel. Much love. Thank you so much. Ramo says probably Spurs. They've been dog walking us the whole season. Did you believe that Mbeumo bid yesterday? I believed it. Yeah, I believe it. Do you guys believe it? If you guys don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to bring it up here on the screen. Coming from, I think it was the Mirror. I think it was the Mirror reporting that it's completely disappeared now. What? Guys, why is it? It's completely disappeared. Oh no, okay, it's still here. It's still here. Darren Lewis from the Mirror was reporting that Tottenham have made a 70 million bid to try and hijack the move of Bryan Mbeumo. Spurs' offer is understood to be closer to Brentford's valuation, although Mbeumo is still leaning towards Man United. Thomas Frank believes he can persuade him to stay in London. The 70 million here, OJ says 70 million for Mbeumo doesn't sound like Spurs. It doesn't really sound like Spurs. Their biggest purchase, OJ, was Dominic Solanke. I think Richarlison as well, and Brennan Johnson. In that, I think it's actually in that order. So that is their most recent one, and that is. I'd question if Darren Lewis has Brentford connections. He does. I'm telling you that for free. He's got connections at Brentford. He got connection at Spurs, which is why I believe there could be some truth to it. I believe there could be some truth to it. That's why I always say when journalists report stuff, they have multiple different connections. You know, they'll have connections to a player, or they'll have connections within the club. They'll have connections in another club. They could have connections like with agents, etc. So their source of information could be anyone. So they also can get it wrong. For example, like if I got a connection to Brentford and someone at Brentford tells me, yo, Spurs have bidded, they've put in a bid, and I report it, Brentford might be using me to force United to make a move when there's no truth to it. There is no truth to it. I always wonder how transfers go on behind closed doors. That would be my dream, to be like, to like shadow Manchester United or anyone actually in a transfer window or on like deadline day. I really like that episode on when it was Newcastle's All or Nothing on deadline day. That was really nice to see how a transfer deadline day goes. But yeah, journalists use clubs and agents, etc., and agents and clubs, etc., use journalists. Is very normal for that to happen. Maybe there's interest from Spurs for sure, but no bid, I don't think. Plus, Mbeumo already said he wants United. That's the thing. With the fact that 2 weeks, guys, it's been nearly 2 weeks since Ornstein dropped that report that Mbeumo has chosen United. And there's only been one bid in, which is a low-balling bid, nowhere near what Brentford want. And I just feel like it's taking long. Like, if you know the player wants to, for me, is like, if you know the player wants to join, he's given you your word. I'm hoping Mbeumo is a man of his word, but he's given you his word. And on top of that, you know that there's other clubs potentially sniffing around that might have the upper hand on you. Right now, you guys are saying, oh, there's no way Mbeumo joins Spurs over United. But now he has incentive to join because the manager that he likes and the manager that he had at Brentford has now joined Spurs. So that's now incentive, you know, on top of the other things, that the fact that, you know, they have Champions League, etc. There could be concerns about the way that the club is run, 100%. But I think it's very what's it called? It's very obscene for us to assume that Spurs have nothing to fight Man United for with Mbeumo, because they have Thomas Frank now leading as the face. That, oh my God, don't, guys, that clip. I hate the fact that Owen and then posted that onto it. It's not even the fact that someone else posted it. United View posted it. That video, oh my God. I've already gone viral once this year. I don't want to go. I've gone viral again. I don't want to keep going viral. Spurs have nothing, Minna. Do you guys genuinely believe that? Do you guys genuinely believe that Spurs have nothing to offer Brian Mbeumo and to challenge Manchester United? Because I think it's a bit they have Champions League, but that won't last. That's true. There's some updated information from the Muppeteers. Shout out to our boy James. Let me bring it up on the screen. A nice little change of conversation, because we've been doing it. Oh my God, I've been live for 1 hour and 45 minutes. What the hell? What? It does not feel like I've been live for this long. Why did no one tell me that I've overrun my stream, guys? My streams are normally an hour. You're telling me I've been live for an hour and a half, and I haven't even got halfway near my super chat goal, but we exceeded 150 likes. I guess that's a silver lining. Update on Alejandro Garnacho. Shout out to James, aka the Muppeteers. Go and watch his video, because he's just dropped a video with a little update. He's reporting Garnacho is intentionally pushing away clubs from abroad with unrealistic demands. He wants to stay in the Premier League. Bayer Leverkusen reportedly have stepped away from this for this reason. They have sufficient funds to move for him, but they don't want to break their wage structure for him. The problem is, it sounds like the problem is, and this is coming from the Muppeteers, guys. The problem is Manchester United's asking price. Chelsea and Arsenal are looking at potentially a deal. Aston Villa would be interested again for the wages that he's asking for and not for the asking price. United may have to loan him out. Worst case scenario. So let's just run that slightly back. Garnacho, sounds like his priority is staying in the Premier League. The fact that Bayer Leverkusen had the funds to pay for you, whatever the asking price is, 70 million reportedly is the price in tag. How much are we asking for? It's reportedly 70 million. It sounds like, yeah, he sounds like he has the last say. It does sound like he has the last say because it was reported last week as well that Garnacho had rejected a move to Napoli back in January, despite the fact that United were ready to accept it, and he asked Man United to reject it. It sounds like this guy's got a bit of power in terms of where he ends up next, his next destination. Now, if you're saying that you want to stay in the Premier League and the only Chelsea and Arsenal are in for you, Chelsea are going for Gittins. Arsenal are linked to Rodrigo. They are also linked to, well, they were linked to Nico Williams, but it sounds like he might be going to Barcelona. They were linked to Rafael Leao. I'm not going to lie, guys. I feel like there's, in terms of the left wingers that a lot of teams are linked to, I feel like there's better on the market than Garnacho for 70 million. For 70 million, for 70 million, Arsenal could go and buy Rodrigo from Real Madrid, who reportedly wants to leave, but he's meant to meet with Xabi Alonso to decide his future. Juju says, keep Arsenal away from my Chelsea. Garnacho, for me, is a Chelsea signing. He is a what's the guy called? Todd Bowley. He is a Todd Bowley and Begdali signing. That's it. Young, Prem proven. If we're being honest, he's Prem proven. He's a young player. He's got resale value. Now, I don't know how much resale value he has if you're paying 70 million for him. But the only thing is that is being reported is about his wages. How much is he on? He's on 50k a week. They're saying he's on 50k a week. So how can his wage demands be too much if he's on 50k a week? I'm saying that as if I earn 50k a week would change my life. If anyone wants to send in a 50k super chat, go right ahead. But his wages are 50k. What is he asking for? No, I need more information. I need more information from James on this, because there's no way he's on 50k a week at Manchester United and clubs are saying that they don't want to break their wage structure for him. It is by Leverkusen, by the way. Here's the confirmation of what his wage is, guys. I just want to see Bayer Leverkusen's wage structure quickly. I just want to see their wage structure quickly. Obviously, taking into consideration that Verts and that might still be on here, I'm going to look at it in GBP. Wow. 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 This is Bayer Leverkusen's wage structure. What on earth? Firstly, how the hell did Mukiele get that much money? How on earth did Mukiele manage to finesse that much? Shout out to his agent. But you're telling me people like Florian Wirtz was earning slightly more. Frimpong slightly more. Jonathan Tah is on 45k a week. Victor Boniface is on 32k a week. This is gross, by the way, guys. Teller was on what? No wonder they don't want to break their wage structure. This makes a lot of sense, guys. That wage gap is crazy. It is crazy. But also, it just shows to you guys, I think it shows to us, sorry, why teams are, willing to leave certain clubs to go to other teams in the Premier. Like, if we were to look at the wage structure of Fulham, let me just, out of curiosity, look at Fulham's wages. I'm just curious to compare this. I'm just curious. Look at Fulham's wage structure. It's similar to Bayer Leverkusen's, right? It's not that far off from Bayer Leverkusen's. Bayer Leverkusen won a title last year. They were in Europa League. Like, they had a very successful season last year. But the bonuses are, maybe they've got good bonuses. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense why it's being reported that Atletico stepped away for multiple reasons from Garnacho. Because of the fact that he doesn't want to leave the Premier League. So there's two reasons why they've stepped away, and that's crazy because it's Muppetiz is reported that they have the money. They have the money that is being demanded. They have the sufficient funds. Of course they do. They've just sold Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong for like a combined 150. So they got the money to spend. But they're saying that they don't want to break their wage structure. Capology is the closest thing that you're getting. You're never going to actually know verbatim, penny for penny, what players earn. So it sounds like the teams in the Premier League seem to see the asking price as being a problem for them. Villa would be interested, but not for the wages and not for the asking price. United are looking at a worst case scenario, sending him on loan. And Chelsea and Arsenal are looking at deals. Where do you guys think Garnacho ends up? Where do you guys think? Say Garnacho. Yeah, where do you guys think Garnacho will end up by the end of the summer? I think he might stay in the Premier League. You lot are saying Napoli. Who you lot actually think Napoli? Arsenal. Garnacho goes Arsenal on loan, left wing. Napoli, Chelsea. I don't know. He stays. I don't think he stays. I don't think he stays at United. Do you know why? I would look at United sideways if the way that the situation with Marcus Rashford unfolded and they let Garnacho stay and play at United next season. This is me, best case scenario. I would only be happy for him to go to Napoli if we sell him and get Osimhen. Like, if we get Osimhen in return, that for me is wow. What a deal. The only thing is that that's a lose-lose for United in a way, because PSR perspective, it doesn't work out for them financially. They have no transfer fee to book to their books, so that don't make sense. But also, his wage, what Garnacho earns, and what Garnacho earns across the course of his contract is probably what Victor Osimhen will earn in a year. So financially, from an accounting perspective, I don't know if United would look at a swap. I think it would have to be cash going one way, cash going the other way, so that at least they can book it to their finances. That is, for me, the only realistic outcome, personally. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Newcastle might come in for him. I doubt Newcastle will come in for him. I don't know. I don't see that happening. Andy Robertson is going to Atletico. What? That's so random. Why is Andy Robertson linked to Atletico? Just look at our formation and system. Straight away, he doesn't suit it. Swap with Southampton for Dibbling. What is this obsession people got with Tyler Dibbling? I think he's a decent player, but people talk about Tyler Dibbling like he's the next coming of Neymar. Like, honestly, the way people talk about Dibbling, sometimes I'm thinking, maybe I don't know ball. Maybe, like, genuinely, I think, am I just really bad at gauging what a great player is? Because I think he's an okay player. And I remember him cooking Dalot at the beginning of the season. Cooking him. But I don't think he's a 50, 60, 70 million player. The same way I don't think Semenyo is a 70 million player. The only thing I will say is that it's very, like, the transfer window is very inflated. Like, transfer fees for me have no meaning anymore. Like, transfer fees have no value, no pun intended, but they got no value anymore because everyone's just overpaying. I remember back in the 2000s when we used to, like, damn, I'm showing my age right now. But I remember back in 2000s when we used to talk about who would be like the first 100 million signing. And we would talk about it like it would be decades and decades and decades away. Now we have multiple 100 million signings in the last couple of windows. I think who do you think inflated the transfer valuation? I think it was the Mudryk deal. Because I'm not going to lie, Neymar going to PSG for that price tag is Neymar. I don't think that really inflated it. Hold on. Let me look at the biggest transfers. Let's look at the record transfers. And you know what's crazy, guys, is that we could actually argue that most of these were not hits. Neymar at the time going to PSG, I think, was the beginning of the downfall of his career. I love Neymar. I love Neymar. But when did the transfer window start to get inflated? Is when you got people like Enzo Fernandez going for 120 million. I don't think Neymar was what caused it. Honestly, I don't think I feel like that price tag for Neymar was warranted because of the player that he was. I genuinely don't think 200 million is mental, by the way. 200 million is mental. But if we look at this list, guys, it's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. Look, let's start from the top, yeah? Neymar, 222 million. Mbappe, 180. That's a lot. PSG have, but also Kylian Mbappe. Do you guys think that PSG got their money's worth for Kylian Mbappe? I don't, because this is the argument that I've been seeing recently. And I think what they paid for 180 for that young player, that was a lot at the time. But if you're looking at what he is now, that's a lot. Coutinho, 135 million. Well, that was a crap transfer. Ousmane Dembele to Barcelona. Barcelona again. Why are Barcelona on this list so many times? This is why Barcelona have all those financial levers that they had to do, because they are in the top 10 like 3 or 4 times. Okay, they're in the top 10 3 times. PSG are in it twice. Couple of Premier League teams. Real Madrid in it a couple of times. This is why they have Spotify memberships. 100%. João Felix is the worst. I think that João Felix move is the worst. Yeah. Enzo Fernandez is horrible. Enzo Fernandez, for me, never ever 120 million signing. Never ever. I think he's a good midfielder, but he's never ever, in my opinion, 120 million. Even at his best right now that he is at for Chelsea, not it. Eden Hazard, well, that has to be a smelly transfer as well. Smelly transfer. Griezmann, fail. Jack Grealish, I would say to an extent, fail. I think Jack Grealish did well in his first couple of years, especially in that treble year. But I don't think there's enough. The fact that he's the only Englishman on this list and he doesn't get bollocked enough for me. And the fact that he's been left out of City completely and they're trying to get him out. Ronaldo to Juve, Declan Rice, Caicedo, Jude Bellingham, Lukaku, Pogba. People talk about Pogba like he was in the top 10. Gareth Bale, Kane, Kolo Muani, Anthony, Ronaldo. The fact that Ronaldo is on this list twice is crazy. CR7 cooked at Juve, 101 goals in 3 seasons. They ain't won the league since he left. They're all fails considering what the target was when they were signed. That's true. Is David Silva still playing? No, he's not. He's not, because I remember he was playing in a charity match in Qatar like a year or 2 ago. Neymar again on this list. Higuain. Neymar again. Harry Maguire. So United are on this list 3 times. Top 25, United are on it 3 times. Anthony, Pogba, Maguire. But United are not in the top 10. But United, people talk about United as if they throw money around. There's multiple teams in this list, guys, that have thrown money around. But it's only United that get mentioned when they talk about it. Neymar is on this list 3 times alone. Cristiano Ronaldo on it twice in what? 2 different decades. 2 different decades he's on it twice. Man City, who have only existed for like 10 years, are on this list multiple times. PSG, top 3. They're in the top 3 twice. Do you know how crazy that is? Chelsea, who have been accused of spending money ridiculously, are only on it 3 times. They're in the top 25 3 times. Arsenal are the only team I think that are on it once. And yeah, Arsenal and Al Hilal, that's it. Juve are on it multiple times. United are on it multiple times. PSG multiple times. Bayern Munich are once. Barcelona multiple times. City multiple times. Real Madrid multiple times, etc. Transfer fees have become so inflated. It's ridiculous. We paid 90 million for Anthony. Yes, sir. Let's look at Man United here. Can I see? Oh, this is only showing me. I have to go look at Man United separately. But we did pay 90 million for him, and he's not even our most expensive signing. The fact that it's crazy that Sancho's not on this list either. Pogba costs more than Anthony. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 105 million. We brought Pogba for like 90 million pounds plus add-ons, I think. You can have a case Caicedo is doing better. I think so. I think so. But also, that's why I don't take this whole 100 million thing. It's a joke. Because you're telling me in the last 15 years, or in the last 10 years, the last 10, 11, 12 years, you're telling me we've had 16 players that gone for 100 million euros plus. And you can argue that most of them, Jude Bellingham, I think, was successful. I would say Ronaldo at Juve was successful. And then a lot of these other players, I don't know. I don't know if their stint at that team was successful. People are like, I feel like with Kylian Mbappe, you're saying, oh, he's worth 180 million euros. Yeah, now, like as this full flourished player. But at the time, did PSG get 180 million euros worth of a footballer? That is debatable. So the fact that we've had over 16 players, or near enough 16 players, that are worth 100 million plus, that just tells me how inflated the transfer market has become. And that's not necessarily, in my opinion, a good thing. I don't really think it's necessarily a good thing. Let's see if there is anybody live right now. Nobody live. Let's quickly, actually, before we wrap it up, guys, I want to hear your thoughts, predictions on this. What do you think we hear in the next couple of days? What do you think we hear for these two players here? What do you think we will hear in the next couple of days? Do you think we will finally get a here we go for someone? Do you think we will finally get some clarity about Gyökeres? Do you think we will finally get some clarity on Mbeumo? Do you think both of them will fall through? Or do you think we will get a here we go for something? Saturdays, what's the likelihood that we get breaking news on a Saturday? Chelsea hijack Gyökeres, is that your prediction? Mbeumo, here we go. Mbeumo clarity. Mbeumo, here we go. Yeah, I think if we get anything, I think we get an Mbeumo thing. Mainly because I feel like with the news that was put out about, Omar Barada, United wanting Mbeumo but not willing to pay above a certain price point that they've already predetermined. I think that kind of gives us some gauge into where United stand with Bryan Mbeumo. So I think we will get a Bryan Mbeumo here we go, or we will get clarity on where United stand with Bryan Mbeumo. So it's it's either or, but I think it's going to be one of the two, and I'm hoping it's the here we go, because I think getting that Mbeumo deal across the line is important. But I hope that if United get clarity on Bryan Mbeumo and they're not willing to pay what Brentford want, then I just hope that they move quickly for a striker. And I hope they move quickly for Victor Osimhen. Honestly, that's my honest opinion. Would be nice to get some good news for once as a United fan. Just been depressing lately. Come on, Dre. Don't let football make you be the reason that you're down. There's so much to life. Like, go outside, go for a walk, go for a run. I've recently taken up running, guys. So go for a walk, go for a run, go play football, go play basketball. Today is my rest day, guys, in case you lot are wondering. I've been on my rest days. I've been walking 5k kilometers, and then I found out that on a rest day you're not meant to do any exercise. I thought rest days just meant you don't work out. I thought I was still meant to like walk and get my steps in and all of that. So I've learned that today is my rest day. I'm going to go have some sushi today with my friends. So don't let Man United keep you in the dumps. I hope we get here we go soon. I don't like this hold up play. We're not Xerxes FC. Fairs. And also the Club World Cup is starting tomorrow, right? Or is it tonight? It's tonight, right? I think it's tonight that the Club World Cup is starting. But it's at 1 a.m. in the 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. Are you excited for the Club World Cup? Not really. I'm not really. Is anyone actually excited for the Club World Cup? I'm looking forward to just watching football. But also, guys, I feel like summer is meant for no football. Like, my opinion is that June, July, there's meant to be no football. There's meant to be no football. Why is it so normal now that we're just watching football Stop. I'm meant to, by the time the Premier League comes back, I'm meant to be yearning to watch football again, guys. That is for me how it's meant. Like, I'm meant to be feeling like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Football's finally back. Like, remember when the pandemic happened, guys, and there was no football, and then suddenly the German league came back first, and everybody was watching it. And everyone was watching it because they just wanted to watch football. That's how I'm meant to feel in August. But the fact that you got me watching football in June, that's it. Like, the Club World Cup, I'm looking forward to some games. I'm looking forward to watching some teams. I'm also excited to see like African clubs, and not just African clubs, but even like South American clubs, etc., that are not a staple of football getting to be on the world stage. And like I said yesterday, I said this in my stream yesterday, there's a lot of players that play in Africa, etc., play in Asia, etc., that maybe would never have had the opportunity to play at a World Cup, because the World Cup is what exposes you to new players, right? New players outside of Europe, new players that you're not really aware of. When they come and play for their national team, that is what exposes you to them. But with the Club World Cup now, we can get exposure to players that you necessarily would have never heard of and never would have watched because their national team probably has never made a World Cup. So you finally get the opportunity to see that. And players, from the player perspective, they finally get to play on a world stage that they would never have reached with their national team, because maybe their national team has never reached a World Cup, but they get to do it with their club. So they get more exposure. And I'm looking forward to that, because now I'm going to get the opportunity to see, players from Asian leagues, from, the South American leagues, from African leagues that I probably, like some teams I'm familiar with. Al Ahly I'm familiar with. Wydad I'm familiar with. For example, Wydad was managed by the current Moroccan manager, the Morocco team, the Morocco national team. The current manager used to coach them. So there's some teams I'm familiar with, like Al Ain are in it. And I mentioned to you guys, my brother had brief trials with Al Ain back in like 2005, and he spent like 6 months with them. So I'm familiar with Al Ain, and obviously I'm familiar with Al Hilal, etc., etc. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. Not necessarily, I'm not looking forward to watching PSG and Atletico, Real Madrid, Man City, Inter, the teams that I get to see all the time. I'm looking forward to, you know what? I want to see tactically how different do African teams play. How physical are they when they come up against maybe more technical teams, etc.? The South American teams that are known for flair and skill and Joga Bonito football. Are we going to get to see that in the Club World Cup? That's what I like to see. But in terms of like watching all these other big European teams, I'm not really excited to watch that. Does it require a DAZN subscription? I don't think so. I think you have to register on DAZN, but you don't have to subscribe. It's free. And if you are in the UK, if I'm not wrong, it's on Channel 5 as well. So you can watch it on Channel 5 as well as on DAZN. You just have to go and register. You don't have to pay. You don't put in your bank details. If it makes you put in your credit card details, guys, you're on a scam website. So be skeptical. So just go on DAZN's website. That's what I did. I just registered on there. And then when it's live, you can watch it. And it's like that even for I think the Women's Champions League, etc., etc. So if you don't want to watch the Club World Cup, and also guys, if you miss the game, you can watch the full game back there. So if there's a game on at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. UK time, or like 5 a.m. in your local time, you can watch it back the next day on DAZN. And I'm pretty sure on DAZN is similar to NBA League Pass. You can watch condensed highlights, so the main highlights of the game. Big up to OJ, been a member for 4 months, says I'm excited for the African teams, especially the South African teams, because I want to see how big the gap in quality is, if there is one. That's the thing. For so long, we're told about the quality, the gap quality between different continents of football, etc. This is going to give you a real insight. And by the way, it's also going to give you a real insight into, I think, real coaching and real football, because not all the teams have the luxury of going out and dropping 150 million before the Club World Cup and bringing in 3-4 new players ahead of the Club World Cup. Some of these African teams and some of these Asian teams and some of these South American teams are going to the Club World Cup with the same squad that they've had throughout the season. Man City are bringing 3-4 new players. Inter Milan, are in it. PSG, etc. All these teams have the opportunity to drop money in that 10-day window that opened in the transfer window. These African teams and these Asian teams, not necessarily. I think there's going to be a lot of physical football coming, that some teams, these European teams, I think they're going to be like, oh my God. I think they will be able to bop certain teams off the pitch, but I think there will be some physical aspects of the game where they're just going to be like, what the hell? We did not sign up to this. Real Madrid taking Club World Cup so seriously, guys. There is a great video, a great guy on YouTube. His name is, oh my God, I forgot what his name is. Am I not subscribed to him? I forgot what his name is. Oh no, I wanted to share a video with you guys. I'm not subscribed to him. I follow him on TikTok though. His name is called The Something Play. I have to find the name for you guys. I actually have to find the name for you guys, because for me, he breaks down finances of football, and I saw a video on my TikTok yesterday that basically broke down why teams are taking the Club World Cup so seriously. Honestly, guys, I'm sitting here scrolling, trying to find him. I give up. If I remember it, I'll tell you guys. But basically, the reason why clubs are taking the Club World Cup so seriously is because if you win, not only so you get a certain amount of money just for being in the competition, you get a certain amount of money for every group stage game that you win, and then for each stage that you pass, you get a certain amount of money. And overall, so if you win the Club World Cup, yeah, you win 125 million US dollars, which is a goddamn a lot of money. Now overall, just for so here it is, guys. Let's look at it and let's put it into perspective. Now you're gonna understand why teams are taking the Club World Cup so seriously. For every group stage match, you win a certain amount of money. And you know what, guys? Just getting to the round of 16 will be a lot probably for like African teams. So just for being in the group stages, you get a certain amount of money. And then for every win in the group stage, you get 2 million. And for every draw, you get 1 million. And then getting to the round of 16, you get 7.5 million. Get into the quarterfinals, you get 13 million on top of that. Get into the semis, you get 21 million on top of that. Being in the final, you get 30 million, and winning, you get 40 million. So if you go, guys, for example, to the final and you don't win, you walk away with 110 million, 115 million. You walk away with that, 115 million. If you win it, you walk away with 125 million. So 10 million more than, the other person in the final. If you get to the semis and you lose, you're walking away with 100 million. Like, so FIFA is paying this. And you know what is funny, guys? You know what is funny? FIFA created this as a what? Was it as a rebuttal to the Super League that was trying to be created? Now, in a way, I don't agree with the Club World Cup. I feel like some of these teams no, it's not the Football Jockey. No, it's called the Something Play. It's a black guy who does so many sports videos about money. I forgot what his name is. Today I feel 125. Club World Cup is very new. That's why it takes time. Club World Cup, the concept of it is new. The long play. There you go. Thank you very much. Go and check out his channel, guys. He did a very good video on the Club World Cup. So go and check it out if you want to understand the finances behind it. But in terms of the Club World Cup being something new, the Club World Cup has always existed. Just this format is quite new. And the credentials to qualify makes no sense, because why is Inter Miami in it? Why is Inter Miami in the Club World Cup? It makes no sense. But also, I think, the money aspect, we were talking about this on stream yesterday. The fact that FIFA are reducing the ticket prices. They're offering deals saying 2 for 1, for example, or they're offering deals to like local universities and local colleges because the tickets are not selling. the tickets are not selling. I want to actually see the locations that they're being held in. Club World Cup locations. The Club World Cup is being held in 12 venues across America. Number 1, Atlanta, which will see Chelsea versus... Guys, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense that the Club World Cup, for example, Atlanta is hosting in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but they're hosting 3 different games in the group stages for 3 different groups. Charlotte, which is North Carolina, is hosting it. Cincinnati, I didn't know. What? I didn't know Cincinnati's in Ohio. Fun fact. Los Angeles, California, and then Miami, Florida is hosting it. Nashville, Tennessee is hosting it. New York, New Jersey is hosting it. Wow. Orlando, Florida is hosting it. Orlando, Florida, multiple different stadiums. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Is that Pennsylvania? I don't know. Seattle is hosting it. Washington, D.C. is Wow. If there's anyone in America that is going to the Club World Cup, let me know which games you're going to, because they are all spread out, guys. Like, you're telling me that this is ridiculous. Orlando, Florida is hosting LAFC versus Flamengo on June the 24th. But then Atlanta is also hosting Chelsea versus LAFC about a week or about 6 days before that. When I found out there's a rule where the best players have to play, I was like, yeah, this isn't real. I mean, Real Madrid have delayed Jude Bellingham's surgery because of the Club World Cup. The guy has been playing with a shoulder pad all season. I don't know if you guys have seen, but he's been strapped up every single game. He looks like he's bulking because he's running around with a huge shoulder pad. And they've told him that he can't have surgery until after the Club World Cup, which means he will be missing parts of the actual football season, which is mental to me. That is really, really mental to me. Chelsea is based out of Philly for the group stages. It's all over the place. It's really, really all over the place. Maybe this was a feel. How did America, by the way, can I ask? How did America end up hosting the Club World Cup? Is it because they're hosting the World Cup in the following year? Is that why? Or is it like, how did they get the rights? Did they bid for it? I don't remember anything. Did they just get selected randomly? Is this a feeler for FIFA ahead of the World Cup to see how America can run a big competition? Like, I don't get what was the process behind all of it. Yeah, it's a warm up to the World Cup. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense to me. This is wild. Like, Ohio got in this. Ohio hosting a thing for me is crazy. Here is a map. This is all right. This map is a visualization for us. By the way, it's wow. Look how spread out it is, guys. Look how spread out the Club World Cup is. And by the way, it's no joke. I remember, so I got family that live in like Arizona or something. And then I got family that are like in Atlanta. And when I found out it's a 6-hour flight, if I fly 6 hours, guys, I'm going to Dubai. You're telling me if Americans are flying 6 hours, they're still on the East Coast. Ohio ain't that bad, y'all. I got family in Ohio too. Why are you guys cooking Ohio in the chat? Imagine Club World Cup in Asia or Africa. It's basically like that. It's because America is so big, guys. Can I just say? America is so big that, like, for me, it would have made sense if they were hosting everything within a certain number of cities that are all next to each other, that you can travel like 2 hours on a plane. But you're telling me if you're traveling from one side of America to another, it takes you like 9 hours. Like flying from Orlando to Seattle, for example. I didn't even know Seattle was that far, guys. This is how you know my sense of knowledge of America is non-existent, because I always thought Seattle was like somewhere around here. I didn't realize they were over there. I also thought Washington DC was somewhere over here. I didn't realize Washington DC is not even that far away from Philadelphia. It also makes sense that a lot of the flights that fly from the UK, if you go to America, if it's not direct, a lot of the time you go transit to Philly or Seattle. It doesn't make sense. The World Cup will be amazing. It will be different because it's hosted in multiple different countries. Like it's America, Mexico, and Canada that are hosting it. Multiple different cities in Canada, multiple different cities in Mexico, multiple different cities in America. I know people that are going to the World Cup, and they are similar to the Club World Cup. They are planning to just stay in one state and just be like, I'm just gonna stay here. Oh, okay, Washington. Okay, Washington State is near where you first pointed. Yeah, I always thought Washington was around here for some reason. I always thought Washington was around here. But I do know, because of NBA, that's how I know Eastern Conference, Western Conference. I know who's on the East Coast and who's on the West Coast. For example, I know that Seattle is West Coast. I know that. I know that, what else? Charlotte Hornets are in the East Coast. I know that. Washington, D.C., I know they're East Coast. Philly, East Coast. New York, East Coast. I know all of that stuff. Are you doing what club World Cup Club World Cup watch-alongs? Maybe. We were having this conversation yesterday about whether I should do watch-alongs or not. I might do it for Real Madrid versus Al Hilal next week. Don't know about PSG versus Atletico. I might do it for some of the African teams as well, just to watch what it's like. The time zone is nuts. We're gonna be up at 2 a.m. for a World Cup game. It reminds me of the Brazil World Cup. Like the Brazil World Cup was on late. So I kind of hear that. And yeah, Women's Euros, I'll be doing watch-alongs as well. That will start in about 2 weeks for the Women's Euros. So there'll be watch-alongs for England. What other teams are actually... Let me actually look at the fixture list, just so that it will help me kind of plan out... it will actually help me plan out what times the watch-alongs will be. So on Sunday, wow, there's basically 4 games a day, guys. There is basically going to be 4 games a day. This is the first one, which is tonight, basically. And then tomorrow, it's Bayern Munich versus Auckland. PSG versus Atletico. I think everyone will watch that. Palmeiras versus FC Porto. I think that will be a good game, guys. Let's try to spot the good games. No good games here. Maybe Boca Juniors versus Benfica might be an interesting game. No interesting games here. I think this is going to be the big headliner here. Real Madrid versus oh my god, Man City versus Wydad. I will watch that. You know what? I might do a back-to-back watch-along for that. Actually, that's crazy. If I do 2 watch-alongs for Man City versus Wydad, I have to do it because that's an African team. And that game will finish at 7:30. Then you're telling me I get like a 30-minute break before the next game. I'll do that. Definitely, I'll do that. Al Ain versus Juve. Just because my brother played for them for 6 months, I feel like I have to support Al Ain. But here, there's not really any interesting games. Well, like these games are not even all that. PSG versus Botafogo. That sounds like a decent game. Yeah. The group stages are, guys. It's not really much. There's not. The Club World Cup, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they are relying on the knockouts to be entertaining because what is this? Benfica versus Bayern Munich. I didn't even know Bayern Munich was in it, by the way, guys. I didn't even know Bayern Munich was in it. Palmeiras is a team that I want to watch. I'm gonna keep an eye on them. I didn't even know Dortmund were in it. What the hell? Juve versus Man City. Ooh, Inter versus River Plate will be a good game. Okay, so further into the fixtures, guys, it looks like some of them are getting interesting. And then, so Saturday, the 28th of June is when the knockout rounds start. Wallahi, there's like 5 games that I want to watch. Guys, there's about 5 games that are intriguing me. There are like 5 games that are intriguing me. But you know what I realized? Damn, it's so windy. You know what I realized, guys? I can't judge a game by its cover. Like, I can't judge a book by its cover. I'd just be like, oh, I feel like this team here, Red Diamonds versus Monterrey, might be an entertaining game. That might be an entertaining game, but I'm looking at it thinking, I don't want to watch that. That game is going to give us like a 5-4 result or something like that. Wydad versus Al Ain FC. That's basically UAE versus Egypt. That's basically the Emirates versus Egypt. Inter versus River Plate. Yeah, there are some decent games. I can't lie. I want to see Inter Miami get mashed up. Honestly, I'm not a hater, guys. Honestly, guys, I'm not a hater, but I want to see Inter Miami get slapped. I want to see them get slapped. They are boring off of names. Watch the matches, not off names, is the right attitude. I agree. Who's going to be here when I do Wydad versus Al Ain watch along? River Plate, Botafogo, and Wydad are the dark horses. Can't be worse than last Manchester United match. Agree, guys. I agree. If we watch Man United throughout the season, there's no reason why we can't watch this. I mean, the love for Manchester United is different than my love for flipping Auckland FC, but I'm sure we can sit through it. I'm just saying, I won't be waking up at 2 a.m. to watch football. I wake up at 2 a.m. to pray Fajr. I ain't waking up at 2 a.m. to watch football. That's for sure. And I definitely am not waking up to watch Botafogo versus some other random team. I'm not doing that. But the games are on at reasonable times. 5 p.m., 8 p.m., 11 p.m. Like, that's reasonable. I will watch those games. And you know what? Even if they don't look intriguing to me, for example, on Tuesday, it's River Plate versus Red Diamonds at 8 p.m. UK time. I will watch that. Because it's 8 p.m. It's reasonable time. I can watch that. You know, Tuesday will be Inter Miami. Thursday, will be Inter Miami versus Porto. I'll watch that. Palmeiras versus Al Ahly at 5 p.m. I will watch that. Seattle Sounders versus Atletico Madrid at 11 p.m. No, thank you. That's my bedtime, guys. That's literally my bedtime. So I will try and plan my watch-alongs around that. But listen, guys, this stream has gone so overboard. It's ridiculous. It was meant to be a 1-hour stream. And I just waffled and waffled. And waffled and waffled. And waffled. Because how have we been live for nearly 2.5 hours? I'm just checking to see if there's any new Man United news before we actually wrap it up. And the first thing that I see is Man United advertising a jacket. They need to piss off. Wafflers FC. Big waffles. Big waffles. Proper streamer. Does this make me a proper streamer, guys, for streaming till 2 p.m.? For 2 hours, sorry. I started my stream at 11:30 a.m. UK time. So if that makes me a proper streamer, I'm very proud. Oh, we got some news from Turkey. It doesn't really impact Manchester United too much, but I don't know if it does impact. But it's being reported from Turkey, sports journalists from Turkey with over 1.5 million followers, reporting that Al Hilal has reported back to Victor Osimhen with a new offer. The Saudi club has made contact with Osimhen again, and they're expected to make a new offer. Victor Osimhen, Al Hilal, your mum never told you that when you get rejected 3 times, you just walk away? What business do you have? The guy said he don't want to join. What business do you guys have coming to the table again? Like, he can't even join you lot for the Club World Cup. He can't even join you guys for the Club World Cup. So what business do you guys have coming back to the table to make him another offer? That is ridiculous. You lot are taking the piss. I'm never doing a 2-hour stream again. I'm never Minna's waffle could cure. No, I'm never doing a 2-hour waffle along again, if you guys want to call it that. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Is there anyone live right now that I can redirect to? I'm hungry. It's time for me to go have some lunch, guys. It's time for me to go and have some lunch. Let me know what you lot are all having for lunch. I'm going to have 3 boiled eggs, some potatoes, some broccoli, some vegetable, something healthy. That's what I'm going to have for lunch. Because I'm having sushi later, so I want to, like, save my appetite. If you lot know about sushi, drop it in the chat, because we literally have... Do I have a... Oh, yeah. We got a sushi emoji in the chat. Our 1-hour streams meta on YouTube. What's wrong with longer streams? I don't know what is meta, to be honest. I think with YouTube, You just do what works for you. So some people it works to do long streams, some don't. I know people that do 30-40 minute streams. Me, my cutoff was always 1 hour, just because I feel like that's like a perfect kind of pointer to start at. Do emergency streams next season. I'm not trying to be like too reactionary, guys. 2-hour streams when it comes to gaming, 3, 4, 5 hours is normal. When it comes to talk about football, by myself, guys, by the way, I'm talking to you guys. You know, if I was live with other people, 2 hours would be fine. But I'm not live with other people. I don't really do that. So just me talking to you guys for 2 hours straight is boring. I'm joking. But at least we hit 200 likes. That's the bare minimum. We didn't hit the super chat goal, but we hit 200 likes. So that is the bare minimum. What games you do? I play so many different games. I mentioned this the other day. At the moment, FC 25, I play all the time. NBA, I play F1 at the moment. I've started playing this game called Split Fiction, which is all right. I've started Assassin's Creed. Actually, you know what? I haven't even fully started Assassin's Creed. So you know what? I might play Assassin's Creed on stream. I might do that on my Twitch. It's in the bio, by the way, of this video, and my other channel where I'll probably post clips. Battle Royale, I play Warzone sometimes. I haven't played Warzone in a long time though. I saw a minute tweet about F1 a couple of weeks ago. I started watching F1 out of curiosity in it, because my dream is to go to watch F1, watch an F1 race. That is my dream. You got to Switch 2? Not yet. I just brought it for my nephews for Eid as an Eid gift. I wish Nintendo would send it to me. Like, if there's anyone that works in Nintendo that's in the chat, can you guys send me a Switch for free, please? I don't want to spend more money on a Switch for myself, but I do need a Switch because I travel a lot for work, so it'll be helpful. Don't call me auntie, man. But yeah, make sure you go follow my Twitch, follow my new channel, or my second channel. It's not my new channel. Follow my second channel, because that's where I'll post a lot of gaming stuff. And you know what? If I'm not doing anything tonight between the hours of like 7 and 10 p.m. or I'll go live on Twitch playing Assassin's Creed, because I have been meaning to play it. Ubisoft sent me it ages ago, and I haven't been able to play it because I just haven't had the time. But I might play it on stream. Get a stream deck, Minna. No need for a Switch. A lot of people have actually told me to get a stream deck. I need to research it because I don't know much about stream deck. The new one, yes, the new Assassin's Creed, the new one, it's called Assassin's Creed Shadow. It came out like a month or two ago. I just haven't had the chance to play it of recent. But what I will do is, yeah, I'll probably go live soon on Twitch and then post highlights on my new channel. But guys, I really need to wrap up the stream. 5 minutes ago, I said it's the end of the stream. But if there's any breaking news between now and the next time I'm live, you lot know I will be live. And you know what, guys? I'm not even joking. I'm going out to have sushi with my friends. I haven't seen, because of the football season, I never get to see my friends because I'm just always streaming, always editing, always at a shoot, always doing something. If there is breaking news, I will leave my friends to come back home so I can stream. I promise you guys that. I promise you guys that. And if that doesn't get me to 20k subs, I don't know what will. I really don't know what will. But hit the like button on the way out. We actually need to also talk about the NBA because I watched yesterday's game. We need to talk about that on my next stream. But please hit the like button on your way out, guys. I'll be live again. I don't think anyone is live for me to redirect to. Nope, no one is live. So hit the like button, guys. Have a great Saturday. I'm out. Peace.